Good evening, service crew. Fighting Public Sterner, Ace Windfall, ready for takeoff. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome on in. Hi. Service crew, those of you who have been following me for a little bit, like the last month or two, might have heard me talking about a little game called Factorio off and on. We played this on stream back when Space Age first came out, and we got to like, we played for, I think it was over a Thanksgiving break, if I'm not mistaken. So we got like a good 3 really solid episodes back on the YouTube, if you want to check that out, of us going through Space Age up until Vulcanus. There's also an older series called Factorio and Free Chat from right around the time I debuted, where that was before Space Age even come out, and that was just a excuse for like, I'm gonna play a game in the background and yap, and so it could be like a good using both. I have, after the Vulcanus one, I played a little bit on my own, took a break, and then I came back. And when I say played it on my own, I mean I made a new world. This is not the same world as the one from the stream back like almost 2 years ago at this point. This is a new world that I made that I played on my own after we did that. I took like a break for like about a year, and then I came back 2-3 months ago, I want to say. I don't know what happened, but I just had the bug of like, I wanna actually like beat the game now. I don't know if I saw a YouTube video and it made me think about it, or like if I was doing something else and I decided like, you know what, maybe it's time. But so for the last 2 to 2.5 months, I've been working on trying to beat the game from the save that I give myself, which was effectively right at the start of Vulcanus. Again, very similar to how it was on stream when we quit playing. And so this is a game that I have called Screech, which I don't know why I named it that, but I was like, that's a weird name. And then I remembered, or then I looked up the names of the other ones that we played, and the Factorio free chatting one was called Raid Shadow Legends, and the one that we did over Thanksgiving break where we first got to Vulcanus, as evidenced here, was called Dry Science. And I'm gonna be wholly honest with you, I don't know which one's the weirder name. Raid Shadow Legends is just a fully other game, but Dry Science? I don't know why it's dry. So Screech actually doesn't look that weird of a name. Also, what's up, Dolly? Welcome in. Hi. The giant spider crab thing you saw on screen was more than likely a stomper, I want to say is what they're called. We can look them up in the Factorio PD when we load in. But that is a new thing for, air quotes, new thing for Factorio. That's from the planet Gelba, which we're going to dive into today. Shall we? The entire idea of today is just me showing off this thing I made and telling you the story of this world. So it's probably not going to be super long or super crazy, but like this is what we got. And this is me, Ace Windfall, fighting mechanic extraordinaire, in my little super suit. Hold on, let me take all of this stuff and put all of this away because I won't need any of it. Also, turn off functional logistics, I just realized. Also, because this was transferred over, a lot of achievement pops might happen. I got like 7 achievement pops on my own when I booted in to make sure the world worked, for like, oh, you're making 1,000 steel per second and everything, because we apparently did not get that during Dry Science or Raid Shadow Legends, so I got a lot of that one. I have a feeling I know exactly which one you're talking about, because there's only one of them, but they are a grandiose boy, I gotta tell you what. But as you can see, this is my character, and I'm going really fast through a mixture of, I'm on concrete, which gives you a movement speed boost, because if you get off it, you can move a little bit slower, and also I'm in a big ol' suit. So the reason I emptied my inventory is because when I take this off, my inventory will drop dramatically. Here's my boy. Look how slow he is. This is how you start every single game out. And as you go through, you can build, and you should build armor to get up, specifically up to modular armor, and above are the good ones, because that allows you to have an equipment grid, which can do things like give you exoskeletons for bonus movement, give you personal robotics, which are fantastic. Along with these are the power that will these will generate power to supply these, and these will store power, so you're not just relying on like the power stored power generated by this, but like you can store it, so it's better to have a battery to drain from instead of draining directly from here. And then I also put 2 tool equipment belts in just because I could. I usually don't fill up on my inventory, but that's my look at him, just a little guy with a little pickaxe. His little submachine gun, which is you start with a pistol, you can build a submachine gun later on. A rail gun, which is new to Space Age, which is really great, and with a rocket launcher which shoots capture bot rockets, which we'll get into that. Real quick, the railgun, I would just like to show off. Let's see, this should work, yeah. So if you have like the normal submachine gun equipped, you can be like, you know, you can shoot some things like a couple at a time, and I'm using uranium rounds, which are the strongest ones. But like if you have the railgun equipped, it is pretty good. This thing is so cool. I was running around with it when I first got it, and it can just demolish biter nests, which biters are the enemies in this world that will spawn in and try to attack you because you are this red cloud here is the pollution my factory is generating. Oh, ooh. There we go. They're the biters. We just had an artillery shell from one of our artillery turrets. They have the ability to auto target, so if any biter decides to make a nest or a hive within their range, which is this light red circle, they will automatically fire at it and try to destroy it. Because they will try to like go from here and they'll try to expand back into what is now my territory that I have graciously taken from them. But it was really fun to, with this suit as well, the mech armor is new to Space Age, but with it, you can just fly over things, which is really, really cool. Because before, if you had like something like this, or something like this actually, and you were like, okay, well, I'm stuck, I can't get through there, you'd have to worry about like navigating your factory in some ways. But this being the highest tier of armor now, it gives you a little jetpack that you can just fly over things. It's super cool. So the speed, the modularity, and just being able to fly over things makes it such a nice in-game thing. But like, look at this. This is where my starter base was, as evidenced by the fact that I put the Woob icon and I said starter base here. So what that means was when I loaded up the game, my spaceship had crashed here. And I ended up dismantling it. Some people keep their spaceship around, and this one I felt like dismantling it. I kind of wish I had kept it around though. But when you start here, you usually have like a few patches of iron ore, a copper ore, coal, you might have some stone, and you have your starter lake, which is this bad boy right here, which looks really, really nice, and not polluted right now. It's a little polluted, but compared to how it was circa 1 to 2 in-game hours ago, it's beautiful. And that's because, unrelatedly, or soon-to-be relatedly, I've been growing trees to counteract the pollution. It's very, very cool. So I started with a small base. I did some basic prefab stuff. I made these furnace stacks, which would get iron from, or ore from my iron and my copper. They would put them through here, turn them into plates, or into steel. Are these steel plates technically? I'm trying to think. What iron? I think they're steel plates. I think they are steel plates, even though they look different in this icon. They would take them and they would like send them through these conveyor belts to. There used to be a bunch of other assemblers on either side that would then make, you know, products. Would eventually make science into smaller things. But as I expanded, I ended up removing the smaller parts that we don't need anymore. So I went from, you know, I believe this used to be. Were these both iron all the time? This one was definitely steel because of the way that this is set up. I'm trying to think if these were both iron, if I just had copper here that I've eventually moved. But basically, I've went from, you know, this to, this. Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That's not a lot of coal. Hold on. We might need to... Uh-oh. You. Go here. And then we're gonna turn this stop off real quick. Turn that priority to 40. Because I just realized, I think what's happening right now, which I didn't notice before, is that, my stacks... We're running low on coal up here at this coal mine, because now we're only at, like, 12 miners running. And you can see that they're not really filling a belt super well. So it takes a while for the coal to actually fill up a train, since there's not, like, an excess. Like, over here, there's, like, 42 coal. So I made this coal mine over here, which is currently backed up a lot with coal. But because the priority of this one was higher, or was the same priority, it kept going here without going here. So now, there he goes. Into the unknown for a second. And this should help a lot more, where when he gets back, he'll have an entire train full of coal, and when it's emptied, he can immediately come back up here to get another train full of coal. So hopefully we won't see these flashing red lights ever again. Luckily, we have a lot of backup here. But yeah, it goes from having very, very small ore patches that you feed into small things and make like 1 at a time, 2 at a time of these products that you eventually turn into science, that you eventually like put into labs to generate, you know, research technology. And then it goes from that to making multiple stacks of hundreds of thousands of iron, copper, steel, and then taking all of these and feeding them into things like this, where instead of just making one, you're making like I don't know, how many are here? You're making approximately 40 assemblers worth of green circuits at a time, because you're feeding in entire lanes of copper and lanes of iron at a time and spinning out entire lanes of green circuits. It's great. There's a Nukiyashi. We'll get there. So you're getting, boom, a lot of iron, a lot of copper, a lot of steel, a lot of green circuits. Then you're putting those in, or over here you're getting liquids. You're getting is it just liquids? Yeah, is that the word I'm thinking of? You get oil products, I guess, which originally you start with. My starter oil patch was over here, which is really, really tiny. So I had to like expand pretty quickly to get like oil from here and oil from here, pump all of it into here eventually. Like this is the second version of my fuel processing. I think that was the word I was looking for. Fuel processing, because I think it originally was over closer to this, but then as I upgraded and like expanded my bus out this way, I figured, well, I should probably get a more central location for this. And what this does is it takes crude oil and cracks it into heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum gas. And then we'll take it even further, turning the heavy oil into lubricant. Any leftover will then get cracked again into light oil. Any light oil that gets left over will then get cracked again into petrol to then fill up these tanks. Heavy oil itself, not really needed in this setup. So all the heavy oil is going to get either cracked into lube or into light oil. And then from there, they get piped off into any way, shape, or form, typically being turned into either plastic bars, sulfur, or lubricant is used for a few products over here in my little mall. But yeah, look at this. Your iron, your copper, your steel, your green, belting out things of plastic, sulfur. Then you're taking your green, your copper, some plastic into here, and spitting out just a bunch of red circuits, which are, in fact, in my opinion, the worst thing in the game. I think blue circuits are better, just because, like, the way this goes is that green circuits make red circuits make blue circuits, and then that's the top one. But there's something about red circuits, and I don't know if their speed is just objectively smaller or not. But like a green circuit takes 0.5 seconds to craft. A red circuit takes 6 seconds to craft. A blue circuit takes 10 seconds to craft. It does take objectively longer, but for some reason, red circuits, I guess they're just used in more things. I don't know. Red circuits always just feel like they're worse. Look at this. Look at this blue circuits right here. A full stack. They're barely getting used up at the moment, which in a way that means I could up like my use rate of them. But for the most part, they're only used in like modules, yellow science, and for rocket launches, which we'll get there. Like, look at this. Go from iron, copper, steel. A little bit of coal goes along here as well. Green circuits, plastic, sulfur. Red circuits get trickled through. Blue circuits get trickled through. And then you go into things like LDS, low density structures. Which these are some of the big boys where you're going to need a lot of copper. You're going to need a lot of copper, by the way. A lot of steel, some plastic, which we definitely need to up our plastic, I think. Because I think half of it is getting taken by... Yeah, half of it is immediately getting taken by the red circuits. And the other half is like... We're using in a lot of spots. We can probably make it so that this is 2 lanes of plastic. Because look, it's not even like... It's backed up. Oh my god, look at that. Hey! Like I said, we're probably going to get a few more achievement pops for things that we were not able to do on the last couple times playing it on stream. For now, let's do this. In the map, you can like... grab things and put out ghosts to have the bots do something for you. If we look, turn on bots. So that's a really quick stopgap measure that will now, both of these lanes will feed at least up to here. Since a lot of our plastic was getting taken by the red circuits, now obviously, we could make it look nicer by having this being a flat one and then making the underground belt jump here. But for now, this will up the amount of plastic going to the red circuits as well as plastic going like further down the line. So very, very good. You're just making things, putting them on the belt, and then here's where it is, the mall. My iron, bunch of irons coming in here, red and green circuits coming in here, turning into a lot of gears, which then get turned into a lot of belts, and a lot of inserters, and a few other little bits and pieces here. This mall turns copper, steel, iron, and circuits as well into cables, gears, any kind of electric pole, a few logistics bits, a few basic modules, and a bunch of logistic chests as well as everything else. Also, as a full disclaimer, I think basically all of these things are from a blueprint book. Like the actual blueprints that you see here, these are from... I can't take credit for this. Oh no, I don't have it in here. But like these are all from a blueprint book that I have of... I think it's Nielaus is who made it originally. So a lot of these things are just stamped down. So my biggest contribution is just making sure that the line looks really nice and that I'm getting... everything here in time for it. And also just, like, stamping down even more if I need to, because you can see I have one thing of red circuits here, and then I was like, I need another thing, so we made another thing of red circuits over here, and it's still, like, just barely not enough. But it's actually, wow, it's actually getting a lot better here. Look at that. It is starting to back up a little bit. Nice. We are at a little bit more of a surplus of red circuits than I thought. Cool. Break it down here, turn into batteries, put batteries on the line. They go up here, next to the rocks, next to the stone, which are also from... those get made all the way up here at this little site. Because way back in the day, there was a stone site up... I want to say it's around here is where it was. Which is why we have this weird electrical set over here. But it used to be that stone was made over here and brought all the way down to here. So then we had to start getting a stone from outside of that area. From over here specifically. And I was like, okay, we got to put the train stop somewhere along this line so we don't have to make an entire new area. So now we have stone and bricks being made over here. Keep going down. You've got... and then finally the sciences. After you've made all your constituent parts, your plates, your circuits, sulfur, plastic, coal, batteries and such, then you can finally make the big thing, which is the sciences. Because your main goal here is to mine stuff turn into products, turn into science. Science will get you researches, and researches will allow you to mine stuff better. That's kind of the gameplay loop you're going for. So like you get sciences so that you can make more, your asteroids are more productive for you. You can shoot better. Your turrets are better. You can make more plastic. You can make more blue circuits. You can make your explosives get better. At this point where I am in the game, everything is just an infinite technology outside of like this one. But that's a whole other story. So you get your green circuits and you have your green and red sciences, which are really basic. These are the ones you started the game with, so they're like, you know, copper and gears, or belts and inserters. Then you go into your military science, your black science, which is like, okay, what are the military things? Red ammo, grenades, walls, that makes black science. Then you get into the first, like, difficult science of the game. I remember when I first played this, like, blue science is your first big hurdle, I'd argue, because to get blue science, you need red circuits and you need sulfur. So that means you need to have, like, done oil processing. And then red circuits are really slow to be made. And also you need engines, which take steel and iron. So it's such a bigger process to make blue science than it is to make any of the earlier sciences. But, oh wow, we need more blue science, dang. I guess we've been just eating it up entirely. And they're just like fully always making it. We need to start getting some modules out here. Because yeah, again, similar to the red circuits, blue science also takes 24 seconds to make. So, I think we have probably, what, 30, give or take, assemblers here? We have 24 assemblers. So we're making, but given their productivity bonuses, we're making 0.07 blue science per second times 24. 24 times 7 is 48.96. It should be about 1.5 if I'm not mistaken. Can I do this to... No, it won't tell me. Can I do this? No. I think it's... Calculator. 0.07 times 24. We're making about 1.6. Okay. Closer to 1.7, but... So you're getting like 1.5 science per second, which I think is what the majority of these areas are doing for you. Yellow science, of course, is the next hardest. Well, actually, no. Purple science is arguably the next hardest. But it's not as necessary as yellow science. Purple science being like stone, steel, which both of those make rails, which this is like the hardest part of this. Rails, productivity modules, and electric furnaces are what you use to make purple science, so that's a very weird setup. Because getting stone in here, getting like iron to make rods, steel in here. The stone is really the weird thing here. Red and green aren't too bad. Steel, oh, stone as well. Stone and bricks, I mean, are the weirder things to make electric furnaces and rails, which are the purple science hiccups. And then finally yellow science is like the big in-game science in the base game, outside of space science. But like in-game, you make it on Novice, on Earth, which is blue circuits, batteries, iron, green circuits, steel, and LDSs. LDS, of course, being the big, like, giant copper-consuming bad boy over here. Which this can be, as evidenced by the fact that I have so many of these. LDSs are really important, and they're, they take a hot, like, bit to, like, get going in a lot of cases. But they're only really used by this and by rockets. And a few space things later on, but those aren't, like, as actively consumed all the time. Then finally you get your yellow science, perfect. And then over here I just slap this bad boy on of just... Modules are things you can insert into assemblers, or other bits and pieces that will either make... You'll get more productivity, meaning you'll get free products every so often. You'll get like a, oh, I'll get a free science pack after this purple bar fills up. Whereas over here, we don't have the purple bar because there aren't any productivity modules in this. Speed, I mean, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It makes things faster. So that's why a lot of people will take and put some, if you look here, they'll put like beacons, which can hold modules that will then affect things within range. They'll put speed modules in here, which will offset the production modules, which make things slower. and hopefully, like, speed up how much you're making at any given time. And last but not least, there are also efficiency modules, which they're not really that important. They're bigger for like Death World campaigns where you're dealing with like the biters, the enemies in the game are a lot more aggressive, so you really need to clamp down your pollution. Here, I just made them just to fill out the trio, and I'm mostly using them on things like my miners, which we can go to that one, it's empty. We can go to that one, it's empty. There we go. Look at that. The hand of God telling the bots to go remove something, and then dun dun dun. Ha. Oh, it's so cool. I really like this area, by the way. The way that I have this set up is that there was an iron ore patch here that I wanted to fully deplete. Because this is where I was like starting my main bus from. But I was like, okay, I can't just rely on this. Because A, it might not be enough, and B, to future-proof it, I need to have a spot for a train to deload. So that's why I have this train here that's deloading this iron. But the way I have it set up is that the iron ore will go, everything will go into these splitters, or in this case, combiners, where the left one is coming from the iron ore patch, and the right one is coming from the train, and I have the input priority on the left. So that means, as long as it can, it's going to try to pull from the iron ore patch. If there's something missing from the iron ore patch, it will instead pull from the train. And then this right here is a giant belt balancer. Originally made for 1, 2, 3, 4, for 5 belts. Because there used to be 5 belts of ore coming in here. But over time we've had to remove them because they've, you know, ran out. But this entire thing, the entire purpose of this is to take 5 unsorted belts, like you can see this belt kind of doesn't have a lot in it, and turn it into 4 sorted belts of roughly equal amounts of product coming out of each of them. Which then get turned into this, which then get turned into this, which then get turned into all of this. And you can see, like, look at all this disgusting, disgusting pollution coming off these things. Again, the red, like, cloud here is my pollution. Oh, hold on. Little dude's coming up here, coming to say hi. See, that's what pollution gets you. The neighbors don't take too kindly to it. They come over here. They try to, like, get into your factory to destroy the things that are making pollution. And I, in my older age, aka beating the game, I've wanted to, like, stop that as much. Obviously, it's not that great because the pollution is still here, but the pollution used to be a lot darker and a lot more red. Similar to how it is, like, around here, or you can see it, like, being darker and redder around these spots. What has stopped that is tree farms. So once you get through Gelba, though I think you actually have to get a little bit further than that, you can start using these agricultural towers, which you get on Gelba, and you can start planting the novice trees. And what these will do is they'll plant trees in their area. When the tree is fully grown, it will cut it down, and then we'll plant a new one in its spot. In doing so, this blue thing up here, those are all the trees I'm removing. If we look at this on, like, the 10-hour graph, I was, like, making so much pollution here. And you can see that, like, okay, the tiles, aka the ground was absorbing a lot. The trees were absorbing a lot. The biter spawners, see, these things, the biter and spitter spawners, they can absorb pollution. That's what will kick off them attacking you. But you can see right around here about maybe a little over an hour ago, or no, I guess about 4.5 hours ago, in-game time, I started just planting trees. And because of that, we've been absorbing a lot of pollution in the air. I probably had a lot more pollution in the air at this point, and now it's just kind of dipped down, where I think we're getting closer to an equilibrium with this. But because of that, I'm trying to, like, reduce my smog cloud to stop, like, I don't want him to be angry at me. I want to just, like, I've made my peace. I've already, you know, you know, had a few run-ins with some biters, maybe, you know, 1,400 of the big ones, you know, maybe a few 1,300 of the other big ones. Like, yeah, we've done a lot of, you know, fighting back and forth, as evidenced by these spikes. Like, I might have killed a few biters in my time, but like now I'm gonna recede back into my wall, and we're just gonna like call it even until I need to go and expand to get some ore from, you know, any of these spots when my ore within my walls runs out. I do wonder if it's possible to make a factory that's completely wildlife friendly. I think it is. It would be very difficult, but I think you could do it, Dolly. Well, actually, I don't know, because yeah, these things are the biggest thing to make it wildlife friendly, but these require you to leave the planet first and get it from Gelba, a different planet. I'm interested if there is, like, Factorio is a game where people will make challenge runs and put them on YouTube, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if there was someone that did that. And if they did, there might be some caveats to how they do that. Because I know some people, there's one achievement in the game, which is, the first spawner you kill, there's a spawner over here. The first spawner you kill, if you kill it via, an artillery cannon, which is a fairly late game thing, you get an achievement for that. So, like, a wildlife-friendly version might be just, like, putting big walls around the spawners so they can't spawn, or that it's harder for them to spawn in the first place. So, maybe not super friendly, but, you know, as you get later into the game, you can be a little bit more friendly to the guys. That's kind of my goal here, is to be a little more friendly now that we're further in. Which, by the way, actually, I just realized that nothing over here has... like, I can see pollution spawning up here because we don't have any efficiency modules like we do over here. So what we can do here is go over here, pull up my menu, grab the modules. Actually, let's grab... Honestly, let's grab these. We have enough of these. We have like 1,000 of these, I think, so we're just gonna go and... Control left click, hover over all these. Just fill them all in. There we go. And this is connected to my logistics network via this orange grid. So eventually, yeah, there you go. You can see all the little bots flying up here. They have to go and recharge because they don't have infinite travel time without needing to recharge. But slowly but surely, they're starting to fulfill my requests. Yeah, so we started with the starter base over here. We started making a bus. My original bus, actually, this is not the original version of it. My original bus started over here at my starter oil patch, and it went up. But it was specifically, it was when I started the game again that I removed it and made this horizontal bus instead, which was a lot of effort. Like, of the first week or so of me getting back into the game was tearing down all the work I had done beforehand, and that's because I used to be doing it in a city block style. I think that's what got me back into it a little bit, was that I watched, I assume it was a Doshington video based on the spaghetti, like, spaghettiification of my factory. Air quotes, spaghettiification, because this is not spaghetti at all. But way earlier on, instead of, like, you know, this is kind of like freeform, it looked a lot more like this. This is like a remnant of the factory over here, where I was using city block tiles, which if you turn this on, you can see like everything is just square, everything's perfectly designed as a grid. You could like put down some walking path between these if you want, then you just fill things in the center here. And I think that's me doing away with this pattern and going more just standard style, I think is what kind of got me like back into it. But I still have remnants over here because I haven't... There's no reason for me to destroy it over here yet. Especially because it's the only logistics network connecting me to, like, these spots over here. But yeah, we had the starter base, we had our original bus this way, turned it into a bus going this way, and then from there, if we get rid of these things, you can see, oh, and let's turn on show pipelines, so then you can see like our petrol, our water, our lube going up into these things. You can see more of our tree plants, because we just want to put like these tree planting stations wherever we can, just to absorb pollution and to make it less aggressive for everyone. Otherwise, your trees will... These trees were here since the beginning of the game, and you can see they're not in as good of a shape because they might have absorbed a lot of pollution over the years. Whereas, like, trees over here, healthy, beautiful trees, even now, they're still, like, outside of any major sources of pollution. So that's the other reason why, like, these tree plants that will plant, cut down, and replant, they just look nicer, too. But yeah, in order to feed all of our industry, we gotta get trains. So at least one train per each stack. So we have some iron over here. Oh, it's a Teal, welcome in. Hi, hi. Teal, look at my factory. I'm explaining everything I've done with this thing. It's sick. Also, thank you. Haha. Okay. Yeah, so we have their starter base over here. Then we made, we tore everything down. We rebuilt it as a bus over here. It's so cool. It is very, very complicated. But if you were ever to play the game yourself, Teal, it's one of those games where, you're like, this is so hard. But then you just, it's knowledge that you build upon. Which I feel like there's a word for that, but I'm blanking on it right now. Just build upon in and of itself, I guess is correct. It's like, if I were to get thrown into, like, a Minecraft thing right now, I would probably be really confused at how people were doing, like, especially, like, a hardcore Minecraft thing, where it's like, yeah, my mob spawner, or my, like, iron farm, or anything like that. But, like, that, to me, is what this might be like to a Minecraft player, right? Where it's like, this just makes sense to me. A, because I've watched videos on it, and I understand the theory behind it, and I've been playing this for, you know, let's save over this real quick. And I've been playing this for over 170 hours to the second, by the way. Which I feel like this is wrong. I feel like it's actually higher than this. I think I had to, like, reload a save at some point. But it's so cool. But yeah, to feed my iron, my copper, my steel, we need trains, which are, like, my favorite part. That was the other thing, too, is using the city block style. I don't know, trains just felt more constrictive. I had an older save, not a stream save, but, like, an older save where I was doing more city block stuff. And, like, it was kind of cool to slap down city blocks and have trains go through them. But, like, I kind of like the free-form nature of things a lot more. So I was really happy to tear this down and go into a more just what feels right state over here. Which, by the way, you can also see... Actually, I don't know why I'm doing it like this. We have the Walkman. Part of this is the joy of looking at my stuff. By the way, this up here, this was part of my starter base. This area was specifically just to make... and this is also a blueprint that I copied. This is just to make bots. Because if you can start getting bots off the ground early, it makes it a lot nicer. I'm gonna go take my stuff back, by the way. So now I can, like, put down stuff if I want to. Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't, like, walking around. It's a lot cooler to walk around. But yeah, this entire area is just to make bots. It will take in steel, copper, iron. It also has to take in some oil and some water because bots require some lubricant and some petrol because you have to make sulfur here. Like, it's such a weird design, but this is a fully copied blueprint. But it will make bots that you can then, like, you know, have with you, which then they can do things like if I want to be like, okay, I can just place this down myself. Sure, like, I can do this. But I can also just make the bots do it. Which is good for, like, if I had to remove something. That's me removing something. Or I could just go, Like that. That's the big one. Yeah, this is some dirty bots. Like, this is, again, fully copied, and it is very, very dirty, but, like, it gets the job done. Especially when you're on a long playtime, it's just, like, you just let some things just build up over time, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I have, you know, 500 bots over here that I can just feed it into the network if I need to. Yeah, let's get out of here. And similar to the bots, there's a few other things that I don't need a lot of that I also build dirty over here. Because once you get bots in Factorio, everything just becomes stupidly freeform. Because with bots come a few things like these chests, and more importantly, these chests. These are storage chests where literally if your bot destroys something, it can get put in a storage chest, which I have a full array of them over here. With all, like, you can see little bits of pieces in them. Like, this one has wood. This one has a few extra train cars. And what bots can do is they can pull from storage chests into requester chests. So, for instance, say I have 100 stone in here, and I want, like, oh, I don't know. Where's stone at? It's technically over here. And say I want 100 stone here. The bots can move it from one to the other. So what that means is what I have over here are just a bunch of really dirty designs that I don't need a lot of, but like I can slowly make them over time. Where I'll have like, okay, I need a few heating towers. So have this requester chest request some products for heating towers. They will then get put into here, and then over time we'll just, you know, generate a few heating towers, or we'll generate a few like space platform starter packs. We'll make a few capture bot rockets. We'll make a few cargo bays. And it's just, like, stupidly dirty. Like, I don't need a lot of, like, thrusters, so I don't need to make, like, an entire area for it. So I'm just gonna make, like, oh, this makes thrusters. I have 15 of them. That can make me, like, 3 whole rockets, or 3 whole, space platforms if I wanted to. Or, like, hey, here you go, Nokiashi. Here are your nuclear bombs. Like, these are all things that I don't need a whole lot of. I can just, like, have the bots occasionally fill these up. I guess this is the only thing that I might need more of. And I might want to make an actual Area 4 theoretically in the future, but we've been kind of, like, you know, leaning back on the need for aggression, need for artillery, so this is probably enough. Artillery, of course, being only 1 stack, so it's very good, but very intensive on storage space. But yeah, this is my starter area. My starter base, of course, turned into ripping it out over time, leaving some remnants here, and of course just making it just a storage hub that all the bots can come back to. Here are my labs. These are the new in Factorio Space Age, the biolabs. Originally, labs looked like, I can do this actually. We can do, actually, if you pull up this, there we go. Originally, labs looked like this, which I think a bot might be able to come and place one down. But they were really small 3x3 buildings. There we go. That would take science in, and that's what converts science into research. But in Space Age, the in-game labs look like this, which you get by taking a lab, a few capture bot rockets, some refined concrete, some uranium-235, which is a rare isotope of uranium, and some biter eggs. Oh yeah, did I mention the biters, the enemies in this game? In Space Age, you can now, like, not tame them necessarily, but you can capture them effectively. That's what this is. That's what this down here is. Which we have one example right up here. You can capture biter bases. These ones are actually prefabbed biter bases that I made over on Aquillo. That's a whole other story. But before you can do that, you can go over to, like, the reason why this is not destroyed, even though it's very directly in my range, is because I didn't know this, but if you've captured a biter spawner, the artillery doesn't target it anymore. So earlier on, I used my capture bot rockets on here to farm some biter eggs, which then I took to Aquillo, was able to prefab a captive biter spawner, and place them down over here. And so what that is it's a biter spawner. It's a thing that makes the enemy on the game, but it's captive, and you can feed it bioflux, which is a product that you can make on Gelba, another planet. You make it on the other planet, you ship it over here, and you can feed these spawners with it. And when the spawners are fed, they will just generate biter eggs. And a very interesting thing that they added in the Space Age, which is a very, like, it takes a second to get used to, is if you see this little white pixel under the 7, or if you see the very bottom of this pop-up right here, where it says remaining time 25 seconds, there is spoilage. It's a very key mechanic on Gelba specifically, but things on Gelba will just spoil, and when they spoil, they'll turn into, in this case, spoilage, as you can see there. Or, for other items, like this biter egg, which can spoil, when the biter egg spoils, it gets turned into a biter. So these two things here, if I'm not, like, constantly feeding them bioflux, then there's a very good chance that they'll convert from being a captive biter spawner into a normal biter spawner, and B, all these eggs will turn into biters. And so a very important thing is I keep the eggs in here, and they only get moved to a chest when something on the network needs it. So, like, if we go over to here, which you can see I have a turret here just in case. Productivity modules are one of the things that need biter eggs. But, like, I don't have a stack of biter eggs over here. This will only, like, it's disabled right now. This will only turn on and ask for a biter egg if, which you can see up here, this will only turn on the spawner by the screen check if we have 4 productivity modules and 0 biter eggs in here. Since there are not 4 productivity modules here in this spot, we know that we can't make any more productivity modules over here, and so it's not going to put in a biter egg. So that will prevent us from having a stack of biter eggs that will hatch on us. The other spot we're using biter eggs right now is, I think it's over here? Yes. Before, or I guess during, when I realized that I could, like, use trees to, like, reduce my pollution, I also heard about fish looping, which is fish breeding, effectively. Because you can turn 2 fish into 3 fish. And these things actively take pollution out of the air. And the way these work is they need nutrients to function. They're biochambers. So imagine, like, some bacteria in a chamber just generating you products, or in this case, like, fish in a chamber generating you more fish. But to do that, they need nutrients to function. And you can turn the fish themselves into nutrients, or, because you're not going to get enough fish to feed this on its own, we can also get some biter eggs in here, turn them into nutrients, which will then, you know, feed everything. But I realized this is, like, this compared to, like, just stamping down a bunch of trees. I like the trees more, they're prettier, and I think they do a lot more work than the fish loop here does. But I do have a little fish loop here, and it looks kind of cute. Also, I like it because it's getting dark right now. You can see these things light up when they're active, which is a really neat feature. Of course, these also light up when they're active, so whatever. Let's see, where were we? So I was looking at this, and again, just in case anything went wrong, I made sure to enclose it in walls. I made sure to, like, just in case, maybe one day we miss a ship in a bioflux. Suddenly, these captive biter spawners become active biter spawners, and, like, we gotta put them down. Just in case we have, you know, we have provisions here. And if they do end up becoming active biter spawners again, I also have a rocket turret here filled up with capture bot rockets to, you know, recapture them. Also, if any extra eggs are in the system, they can get put over here and get burnt, so they don't hatch. And also, any extra wood, because I'm worried about having too much wood on hand. Yeah, actually, because when I set this up, I was like, okay, if I have more than like 20,000 pieces of wood, this should be on and requesting wood. I currently have 58,000 pieces of wood. We've obviously, having, you know, bunches and bunches and, bunches of tree farms will generate you bunches and bunches and bunches of wood. So I might need to find more things to burn there. But it's good for the environment. Maybe, I don't know, actually. Remember the time where you had to farm biter more directly for science? Unless that was a mod, I don't believe I do, Nukiashi. Unless it was also early Factorio. Because I think early Factorio might have had that. But when I started playing, that was not a thing. But I presume that's where they got this idea from. Getting ready to finally move back to my main PC. Nice, Dolly. It's been a hot minute, right? Just need to wait for my Sims 4 mods to finish transferring to my USB drive in 24 plus hours. It's gonna take a bit, but it'll be worth it, Dolly. Will hopefully be like a grand return for you to get back home, or back to your main PC at least. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, when I played Factorio, which was like, you know, a couple years after 1.0 came out, it was like a year or two before Space Age came out. Like, we're talking like 2022, I think, is when I played Factorio for the first time. That was not a thing. But I do vaguely remember seeing people talk about early Factorio. Yeah, so I actually don't know that. I don't have the nostalgia for that. It's a fun little, what do you call it? Homage, I guess, in a way, to the older Factorio, them having you do this. Which is true. We're not there yet, Nukiashi. But, like, yeah, biter eggs, they are now used for the final in-game science, which I have currently not made yet, actually. Woo! Earlier this week, I think it was this week, you were like, dang you, Ace, you got me back into Factorio, and I was like, haha, I didn't realize, like, how deep into it you were before. Navi. The OPV Europa just ran out of ammunition, but that's fine. We'll get there in a second, if you're wondering what that is. Yeah, this is all my stuff down here. Like, we get science, and then the way I have this set up is that I just have the science imported. Again, having the bots do it. They just take the science, they put it on this belt, and then I just have a sushi belt. I just have it so that these only turn on when there's less than 50 science on the belt. And then when they do, they just plop a lot of science on here. All the different sciences will rotate around here, and these will pick up science when they run out. So, like, this is going to run out of purple science in a second. And when it does, you can see it immediately wants to just grab more science and put it in there. And then you can chain labs together, typically like 2 or 3 deep. And so whenever this one runs out, it pulls from here, which will then pull from here. This isn't the most elegant solution, but it is the one that I like the most because I like the pretty colors. And then you have to have, like, these to get rid of spoilage, because everything on Galba spoils, including their science. So you have to constantly be, like, taking the science spoilage out of there as well. But I love that they made these, like, 5x5s. I think a better way to do this is using underground belts to, like, flow through, but I kind of like the sushi belt. It's kind of cute. I've made enough progress on my fanfic to realize I need to make a full language for demons. Ooh. You don't need to make I don't think you need to make a full language, Dolly. Like, I don't think you need to go full J.R.R. Tolkien on it, but I will say, good luck with it. Because it's a fun thought, right? To make a full language, but, like, making a full language is hard. But at least making, like, important bits of language I think is good. What the hell's going on? Uh-oh, what? How far is it to Earth? Uh-oh. So, spoiler, this is a spaceship. This is up in space right now, and, it's currently out of ammo for some reason. Because we're not making steel. Why aren't we making steel? Because we don't have enough iron? Why don't we have enough iron? Which one is this? This is one of my big ships. This is one of my... It's an OPV? Okay. We're gonna up this from 600 to 1200 right now? Or both of these? Just in case. I set these to automate going back and forth between Novice and Aquillo, the farthest out planet. And because of that, I was originally running them just on their own. Like, I was manually sending them back and forth. But, by having them do it automatedly, I'm not guaranteeing that they have enough, like, ammo to survive the trip back and forth, so let's just, increase the time that they have to sit around and just generate, ammo for themselves. Whoopsie. Artillery's like, yeah. I don't know, though. I do have to say, I am a big fan, Nukiashi, of, huge addition. I'm excited to see what, Nukiashi, I don't know if you keep up with the Friday fun facts for Factorio, but they're they're doing another patch in the next month or so, I think. Which a lot of it is, like, small fixes, I believe. But it's like a big patch. But, like, it's a lot of, like, just quality of life kind of stuff, including being able to, like, flip, oil rigs in any of the 8 directions effectively. And I think to add a few more, like, it's just a lot of really cool quality of life stuff. And they said that they were going to add more sounds for, like, rocket silos and such as well, which, by the way, this might be really loud. Watch your ears. I feel like making an entire language be more helpful than me not doing that. Just so I can use it in the Homer Cypher's fanfic. But I mean, Homer Cypher itself doesn't even use a full language. So that's what I'm saying, like, don't get lost in the weeds, Dolly. That's my word of advice for you. Because, like, a full language is a lot of work. But, like, if you need to make a few words and make, like, the semblance of a language, that's probably the smarter thing. Which I don't know if that's what you mean. But if you mean a full language, I can't wait to see you in 5 years. That's the only thing I'm saying, though. Is just like, yeah, don't get lost in the weeds for it. Don't forget your goal. Yeah, here we have our labs up here, which are getting integrated in science. I made this entire, like, here is our bus, and then obviously, as any Factorio player would do, you can just, like, whoosh, just put an entire concrete path down so you can, like, walk around it, right? Here's a Yona, welcome in. Hi. Yona! When you came in yesterday and we were talking about Homicypher Chapter 4, I was like, man, I guess Yona's not that much further ahead than I am. No spoilers, but, yeah, I understand where you're probably in Chapter 4. A lot, like, it branches a lot in Chapter 4. Or Episode 4, I guess. We got a few endings yesterday. It's very interesting. Like, I did not realize it was gonna branch that much and that it had that many endings to it. We haven't finished it ourselves either. Like, we didn't get to, like, a big ending, but we did get a few endings yesterday. And right now I'm showing off my Factorio factory. Right now I'm just walking on the bus. Here, again, all of my tree farms that are just constantly removing pollution from the air. Which, again, the reason why is, look at how beautiful this blue lake is. Look how beautiful, like, this blue water is. And this blue water. Imagine all these just being murky, disgusting. Yeah, like, right up here. You can see this one. We're not pulling... We're still, like, there's still some pollution in this area. And this is not even as bad as it gets. Like, imagine this, but worse. And not only in this lake, but, like, over here. Over here. Over here, right? That's why I've just been planting these trees, because I like the color blue. Fun fact. And then over here we have our walls, which there's a story of expansion here. Remember the good old time when you had to glitch into the rocket with a car to go there? Wait, no, I don't know that, Nukiashi, either. When I played Nukiashi, what you could do was when you launch a rocket, you can hit enter to go inside the rocket, and you would just like fly up to space and be like, and then you would just spawn back on the Earth. You could ride it like you could like ride a Spider-Tron or something, right? Start the relic grind in Final Fantasy XIV instead while playing with a friend yesterday. I mean, doing your grinds, especially for your MMOs that you play, that's very valid use of your time as well. Especially if you have someone else to do it with. Like, that's the fun part about a game like Homicypher, right? Is that it's a single player game. You can pick it up and you can put it down and come back to it whenever you want to. Just like Factorio. Because yeah, this original save started like a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I only picked it back up like 2 months ago, but I was able to go from like basically just being in this area to being here. Because it's about expansion. All of you, I have the turret coverage turned on right now. You can see these darker red spots. These are the turret coverage areas. When I started, I had like no walls outside of like some remnant walls around here. Which you can still see some like, why is there a laser turret here? There used to be a wall that went from here down and around this way. But now, through expansion, I've expanded a lot. So originally, the original area was, this was my starter base, which has been, you know, ripped out, remodeled, and everything. The bus was north to south, and over here was my uranium, since uranium never spawns near you. So I had to have like a little outpost over here that would like take uranium, refine it, which when you refine, if you don't know how this game works, is every time you refine, you process uranium, you have a 99.3% chance of getting dull old uranium-238. Or you have a 0.7% chance of getting uranium-235. Which is, you know, the good one, the spicy one. And so what this does is it processes it. If it's the spicy one, it goes down this path, otherwise it goes up here. And then it goes into Kovarex enrichment, which just turns 40 uranium into 41 uranium. So it's just a slow thing to generate more and more uranium. Ooh. Where'd all my uranium go? I mean, it's in here. I guess this doesn't plop out right now. Okay. Where did all my uranium go, though? What was it getting used for? What the? That's a little worrying in a way. Thank you, Yona. It's really cool. This is like my magnum opus right now. Hold on, I need to take a drink. I realize this has been nothing but me talking for like an hour. Look at it. These are all, like, it's blue because that's my electric network. Otherwise it looks like this. Take this off. There we go. Just admire this for a second. We started here, had this outpost, which this was nice because it had the natural defense of this wall up here. And that's where we made this. We also made our first nuclear reactor here. Nuclear, of course, is a very safe and efficient power source. So this doesn't generate that. This is all steam, right? It's not actually generating any pollution whatsoever. So having this up here near where the biters were was completely fine. And eventually, like, when I got bigger, I made more nuclear power over here, which is the majority of our base is being run off this bad boy now, as evidenced by steam turbines. Like, it's all steam turbines and solar, which is, these things on the map are my solar panel, like, squares. This is also a remnant of my city block design, because these would just be able to get slapped down the same style as a city block would be. You can see, like, the square design of it. Or over here, this was a city blocked one. Or here, or here. And I don't have the heart to remove them, either. So they're just, like, random splotches of solar panel here. Except for this one. This one is... this is also random, but, like... this is just, like, a natural one. Weirdly enough. But when I made this bus, I also made the goal of, okay, if I'm going to make this bus, I need to make sure that I have it secure and safe. Because, like, I'm going to be playing the game, and also I'm going to be going to... the main reason I needed to make a bus, a good bus, was because I'd be leaving to go to other planets, and I wouldn't guarantee that my, like, factory here would be safe while I'm away. So the things I had to do were make sure I had a good border, and that I had a lot of bots to be able to, like, deal with things for me. Like, moving stuff around and placing stuff. Like, I could go to another planet right now and say, like, okay, hey, bots, do I have, I do. Like, bots, can you go and place this for me? And then a bot can go and, like, place that for me. And then get rid of this. Without me being there to do it. So I had to make sure this was really good before I went to other planets. So I expanded from here, and I thought, where do I want to go? I don't want to defend a big area, right? So I need to look for natural chokeholds. And you can see here, this island used to have a few of them on here. I'm a sucker for it. I could just eliminate this guy and this island is completely mine, or this peninsula is entirely mine, but like I got a soft spot for this guy. I don't know. So I have a little wall over here, choking that off. And then, like, if you look, body of water, body of water. So this is a very short distance I need to cover. So this was my first, like, actual wall that just goes from the north to the south and just has an entire belt of green ammo running along it to feed these turrets. It's fantastic, because all the ammo is just getting fed into here via, again, logistic robots via here or via here. Bring in pronouns in the are, is, have, has, who, what, where, why. Nice. Once I get to other words, it'll probably go faster since demons in my fanfic tend to just add onto a word to create a new one. Okay. I'm kind of seeing where you're getting at that, Dolly. It's not too bad. That's not too bad. Like, Dalmatian is a mini spot dog. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay. I like that, Dolly. That's a very good, like, very good conlang kind of to, like, start with, to work off of. Nice. So we made our walls over here. That was our first bit. And then from here, the other reason I had to do this too, because our oil production here and here used to get attacked from the west and from the south. This entire area over here, where there's like nothing here, was just bunches of biter nests, all the way up to like here. And at some point, I just had to go. I had to take a... I had to go take a tank. I had to go get in it. And I had to go drive around and just eliminate all of the biters, which you can see anytime the ground looks like this was like a former biter nest. Like, this is what ground looks like when biters are on it for a long time. So this was an entire biter nest over here. This was one over here. This was one down here. So I had to just like go all the way through and just like remove biters from the area to make it like secure. There's another biter nest over here, one over here. These ones were small because this I already had, like, you know, this had been here for a while. And I think I had a smaller wall at the time, like around this area that I eventually tore down because I was just like, okay, we now have a west foundation. Next, since everything's gonna be over here, and since it's fairly safe up here, because it looked like this just without the wall, I was like, okay, now we have to defend a south area. Where do I want the south border to be? Well, water to water, we can build a line here. So I did that. But then I had to, like, bump out a little because that's where copper was, here and here. So you can see... Let's mosey on down there. Biter. Look at all the, like, corrupted biter land here. Where they were, like, just, you know, living their peaceful biter lives. And then I had to go and get rid of them for the factory. Like this big splotch here. So originally the line was like over here. But then as I decided I needed to get this copper, you can see that's why this looks like this. Because it's just a line of uranium looping around. And it loops around over to here, where then it cuts in. It cuts in, goes all the way around, loops back, cuts all the way around again, and then goes back on its way. But this is a nice spot where we had oil, we had the train come in here, grab some copper here, grab a lot more copper here. Just such a nice little tiny area. Would be perfect for more tree farms, by the way, I just realized. Given their close proximity to more roboports. Then we also expanded all the way over here. So getting this foundation was really important at first. Then it was like, okay, it's unrealistic of me at the time to like go from here to here. And I was like, okay, where do I want to go? Well, there's a lake over here. Let's make my bottom right corner between this lake and this lake, because that's a fairly short way to go. And I could have made it, like, diagonal if I wanted to, but I just felt like straight lines are easy. So we continued to the wall. We had to, like, again, more biters here and here. Had to, like, bump out this area here because of a iron patch here. So you can see our defenses, like, bending around here. More biter area. On the bottom right corner, we have our turrets, just to really make sure that there's no expansion into, you know, the area around here, along with a lot more turrets and with a rocket turret, just for good measure. Goes all the way up here. And it's just all fed through this belt for the west, south, and a part of the east. But then, eventually, I was like, okay, we had... Imagine, like, this was effectively the factory at the time. And then I was like, okay, finally, to secure this entirely, we need to, like, get the north and the top part of the east. And in doing that, I didn't want to make another long belt. It felt unfeasible. So we just went with logistics the entire time. So now it's just 2 turrets fed by 1 logistics chest over and over and over again for the entire length of this. One of the coolest parts, though, is right here. The way that this and this, these natural barriers, like, biters can't do anything about these. So I made it look like, you know, you got a little main gate over here that I've never used in my life. But it looks really cool, and it's a good spot for, like, the 2 turrets to be at, and you can just, like, you could drive a car through there if you wanted to, right? Like, I imagine, like, okay, if biters funnel through here, this would be, like, a shooting gallery-esque area, but, like, all of my pollution is on, you know, this side of the map. This is the coolest thing that has no purpose in this base. But it's just a long line of... And look, I have this now. Just a long line of logistics fed the entire area. We got a little copper mine up here, which has a train going up to it. Again, you have your corner, so you have some turrets over here. Just all the way. This used to be a straight line, but then again, I had to, like... I needed coal, so I bumped out a... Chop this out. Made sure to put more turrets around it. Keep it safe. Little rock patch I might have to dig up at some point. Another cannon over here just to fill in some gaps. More solar panels, more trees. Like, this area is really nice, because this is also desert down here. But, like, up here is, like, you know, a little bit more foresty, a little bit more green. So it's just, like, this looks just so nice up here. Also, elevator rails, which are new in Space Age. They go up to the original coal patch, which was here for a hot minute. Still is. But with everything combined then, and also here we have our rocket turrets over here as well, because it's easy to pick them off when they're like trying to go around this natural barrier. And sometimes they get like stuck and start spitting from like up here, so the rocket can take good care of it where like these things can't really reach them. Also, I have Spidertrons. These are in-game like tanks that you can either pilot yourself or you can pilot with a remote. And I like having them up in this corner up here. And over in... Can you... I don't know if I can, like, snap my camera to it. But the other one I have right now is over here. Since these were the areas that were getting attacked the most, and I was like, okay, if I need to have, like, send someone out to deal with something, I'll have them there. Now I might want a third one over, like, in this corner or down here. But it's been pretty quiet for the time being. I also have one on Gelba, because Gelba's the only other planet with, like, enemies on it, but Gelba has been fairly quiet. It's mostly just a break glass in case of emergency thing. They're great, aren't they? They're spooky, they're creepy, they're mechanically spidery, they're awesome. And that, you know the thing from the main menu dolly you were talking about? Originally... Though, like, Spidertrons existed in the base game, but, like, I think the idea is that the engineer makes them based off of the Gelba enemies now, which is really cool. Where it's like, you can't make that until you've done stuff on Gelba, which is where, like, the giant spider monster from the main menu was. So it's a cool little, like, monkey see, monkey... Not monkey see, monkey do, but, like, nature-influencing design, I guess. Yeah, I think that's everything at my main base here. Just a lot of, again, it's just, a lot of this stuff is just copy-pasted. I don't, like, I'm very happy with how big this is, but this is not, like, a lot of this is just basic cut-and-paste design. I've played normal Factorio a lot. Like, my favorite part about Novice right now outside of like doing some of the newer stuff, is just like the logistics of my train network. Which you can see over here of just the way that you do rails, like having things split off. To keep your trains moving, you need to like make sure your rail signals are set up in a good way so they don't get backed up. You can have some weird, like, this, it looks really ugly, but it works really well. Of like, okay, cuts off here, goes here. Some nice roundabouts over here and here, where something can go into the roundabout, either go full circle, cut off here. Like, it's so... Yeah, look at that! Woo! Hold on, can I missed it. Can I click on something in progress right now? Oh, he's going. Where is a, like, you? You're waiting for the copper production to be not full, but when it's not full, he'll just, like, speed off in a second. Well, it's gonna take a hot minute for that, though. You? And it's so simple once you, like, understand how it works. Of just setting up, like, a go from here to here. So once this is full, it will just, like, immediately speed off along the rails. Because your entire goal is to get from pulling stuff out of the ground, transporting it, so it's building up speed. Wait, what fuel are you using? That feels really slow for that fuel. Yeah, take it all the way. Choo-choo! Then taking it, putting it in here, refining it. Like, it's such a simple premise. And as you run out, like... Yeah, over here, we're running out of copper here, which is why this thing over here is actually fairly new. To have, like, pulling from copper from here. Once this runs out, you know, we'll have to go up here. And that's my favorite part about Novice right now, is just the expansion of where you're pulling stuff from, because I like trains. This is just a train game now for Novice. But that's not the end of the game. That's only, like, half the game. The other half is via... these bad boys here. In base Factorio, you would just launch a rocket. That'd be the end of the game. And then you could, like, send up satellites, and you would get white signs. You get space signs from them. But now you can do, well, hold on, I need to empty out my inventory first. Pop, pop. But now, here's where the fun part is. Let's go travel to the Defiant. My first space station platform kind of thing. Originally, when you're doing stuff, you, the first thing you make, or the first thing that I made, wasn't this. It was something a lot smaller. It was akin to this, which was just a platform that sat above Novice. And what it would do is it would take in, asteroids, like right here. Like, it goes out and snatches an asteroid, puts it in. And then it will... whip, and it will spit it out onto a conveyor belt. It will then, like, take those, turn the asteroids into, like, metals, or into, like, carbon, or into ice. And then, from there, we'll then, you know, smelt the metal. And then you turn that into white science, which then you get to put into here, which then will send it back to Earth. That's how you make white science in Space Age, which is different than how you made it originally. But, this is the only thing you're doing in here. You can also do this. Because this is non-stationary. There is no rockets on this. This can't move. This bad boy, which again is not what my original one looked like, this got rockets. This one can move. Everything here outside of the NSS Deep Space Nine is made to move between planets. Made to move between these planets. Or more accurately, these planets. This is not a planet. This is just nothing. And this is a planet, but this actually doesn't exist. This is just really, really far away. But, like, here's the important part. We're on Novice, the Earth-like planet. And over the course of the game, you get to go to Vulcanus, Gelba, Fulgora, and Aquillo. And my original ship that got me to Vulcanus, because that's where I went to first, kind of small, kind of shoddy, and also it didn't break the first time it went there, but it eventually died because it wasn't that robust. That was called the Defiant. That's why this is called the Defiant Mark II. This was not taken from online, but adapted from what I saw online. This is probably, out of all of these things, all the IPVs have the same design, all the OPVs have the same design, and the DSV has, well, its own design. The IPVs were the only ones I took from, like, looking online to get a vague idea of, like, what I need to do. The OPVs and the DSV are from my experiences on these. Because at the time, for the IPV, I was just like, I just want to get a good ship that can go between planets. So, a lot of this is design I kind of copied over, like the stack of turrets up here, the design of everything looping around here. Actually, I don't know how one-to-one this design copy is. I think I actually made a lot of differences in this. But similar to the process of this taking asteroids, turning into products, and then turning to science, this, because it's going to navigate between planets, where the asteroids are much bigger, it needed to make ammo as well. And because of that, we gave it a lot more space. So, takes in asteroids, puts it on the belt, and there are two sides of the belt. The inner belt is all ammo to survive asteroids, and the outer belt is all products, either asteroids, or iron ore, or like carbon. So what will happen is, like, a piece of carbon a piece of iron ore, or an asteroid will pop out of here, fall all the way down this path, get turned into, well, these are recyclers. These two are recyclers. This will actually turn it into, like, iron ore, or it will turn it into carbon, or it will turn it into ice here. And then it will put it back on the belt, or it will feed it directly into fuel. To be able to move, you need both orange fuel, thruster fuel, and you need blue fuel, which is, I believe, coolant or oxidizer. So now, instead of making, you know, just white science, you're making oxidizer, which uses iron. You're making thruster fuel, which uses carbon. You need to make water for these as well, which will be done by melting ice up here, which is what this is used for. And then any leftover iron ore, we have it go up here, where it then gets turned into here, gets smelted into bars, which can then get turned to ammo, gets put back on the belt, and then fed into these turrets here or up here to survive the transit between planets. And all of it's done via solar power because you're in space. Solar power is pretty good. So, with that in mind, let's take a trip. Let's go and put passenger present on just so I don't get lost here. And you can see, yeah, look at that. As you go between planets, or any planet that's not Novice, and between planets, you'll get bigger asteroids. So for any of the inner planets, which is what IPV stands for, interplanetary vessel, you have, like, medium asteroids, which then get shot into small asteroids, which then get shot into fragments, which don't do any damage. So you need to have, like, a bunch of turrets just constantly making sure your ship doesn't get destroyed by anything, which is why there's just a whole rack of ammo circling this. Also, since you're just constantly, like, getting asteroids, you need to be careful that your belt doesn't get backed up. You can see, like, even here, it's getting backed up a little bit. So what we do is, as it's going through, any surplus ammo gets put into here, and any surplus, like, asteroids or fuel or what have you gets tossed off the side. Because we love space trash. So, like, if you have over 100, like, carbon or metallic asteroids, it will, like, just get sent to the side. Now that we're at Vulcanus, let's go drop down. Vulcan is like the easiest plan to start out because it's super duper simple. Almost to a fault, I would argue. But this was where we like ended when we were playing during Thanksgiving break like 2 years ago. The entire goal of Vulcanus is to take lava and turn lava into molten iron and molten copper. And in doing so, it creates this stone byproduct which you just can like toss back in the lava, because the lava is just a trash can effectively. So you have calcite coming in from up here, making molten iron and copper, which that's the name of the game over here. It's all about just high production. Using these large foundries as opposed to like the assemblers from before, and you're just generating just volumes. You're generating like product at scale, at huge scale. You can pump sulfuric acid straight from the ground here as well. Your solar energy is insane, but realistically it's actually just better to just do acid neutralization to get a lot of steam, which can then pump and power some turbines. Again, I got really lazy where you can just like, if you have enough bots, you can just have the bots make whatever you need to. This base hasn't been updated that much. This is actually probably the simplest base I have. Probably second simplest, because Galba was actually really cut and dry. But this is like how Novice, I was like, a lot of this is, you know, blueprints. This is where the spaghetti comes into fruition. I'm getting calcite from up here, which is going to like make molten iron and stuff, and I'm also divvying it off over here. I'm getting coal. Originally there was coal, and there's still a little bit in the ground here. But there used to be a bigger coal farm here, which is now run dry, so I had to like go expand up here. Together they just form down here. I also have to get what is the purple stuff called? I'm trying to think. Tungsten ore from deep in enemy territory and pump it down here as well. And then from here you just kind of make you're just making coal liquefaction. You're making a lot of oils. Again, turning into like lube, turning into light oil, using that to make like foundries, to make rocket fuel, because you need rocket fuel to launch rockets. And again, this is like a super duper simple one. The main goal here is just to make orange science, aka metallurgical science. Metallurgical science, yeah. Like, as long as this factory is making orange science, we're good. Like, everything you can make a novice, your goal is to make science. You make green, red, black, blue, yellow, purple. You make white science up in space. And then every other planet, your goal is to make that planet's one science. For metallurgical, you need just tungsten carbide and tungsten plates. So you need a lot of tungsten ore up here, which then gets turned into plates via ore and iron, which again, you're just pumping in from the lava off screen. Or to make carbide, you need to get the ore along with carbon and sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, again, you're just pumping in from up here. Carbon, you can either get from space, if you want to, or you get it via making coal and sulfuric acid. Again, sulfuric acid is basically limitless. Coal as well, basically limitless, so you're just pumping it down here, turning it here, putting it here. Basically, you take purple, turn it into orange. Super simple area. The hardest part is probably just, like, to be able to launch rockets, you need to make rocket fuel, which, easy enough, you crack the oil you're getting here into light oil, rocket fuel. You need blue circuits, which that's the hard one, because you'll need to make plastic, you'll need to make green circuits, you'll need to make red circuits, and then finally you need to make blue circuits. So it's a bit more in-depth. We still have a good surplus here to launch rockets from, but like, yeah, this is very cut and dry, very kind of spaghetti, just like getting just enough to make things work, and then just making a stockpile of it. And then Vulcanus is where you can get big mining drills from. Big mining drills and foundries are the name of the game here, where you can take these onto other planets now, and then you can get, like, it's just a better mining drill. Foundry, it's just a better assembler for certain objects. the thing with Vulcanus, though, when you start out, or I guess if you look at the map right now, you see all this red. Unlike Novice, where enemies are just, you know, they can just encroach whenever, the people on Vulcanus, the neighbors on Vulcanus, are very nice. They stick to their designated zones. If you're not in one of their zones, they're not going to mess with you. But if you go into one of their zones and say you want to, like, mine some ore, then they'll mess with you. But, like, they're super duper nice. Let's go and say hi to one right now. There he is. Look at this boy. Look at him. I love him. Every enemy on Vulcanus is a demolisher of some type, either small, medium, or large. And their only purpose is to stay in their zones and just protect and destroy anything that's like making sound or disrupting them. So if I want to like put down some like oil rigs for the sulfuric acid, they would destroy it. But like as you can see, like they don't care about me. I can just like hang around them and be fine. The thing about this though is tungsten carbide or tungsten ore, they only are in zones of demolishers, so you had to go and like take some out. Is that true? It was a Chibihige. Welcome on in. Hi, hi. I didn't know that. That's actually really neat. But like, but they will go off path to destroy things. So whatever you're building has to be like non-disruptive to them, I guess. But like if I wanted to, I could just like make walls around them, I guess. If one would be really cute, I could just make a walled path where he's like following. That's neat. But yeah, because you have to like go and deal with them to get tungsten ore. As you can see here, here, and here, my original area was just a circle about yay big. And then over time, as evidenced by these, I kind of expanded my area. The first expansion was up here. By the way, this is Foundation. This is it's the only thing that can like build on lava, and it's a very, very late game thing. So I'm just like putting it in whenever I want to. It's not important right now. It's just like a do whatever you need to kind of a thing. In other areas, I might need it more. Like if this couldn't have fit, I would have had to put Foundation here. But right now, I'm just kind of like filling it in when I want to, because just like it's aesthetic at this point for me. So when you play on a really thin world, the worms become void worms. What is that? Oh, like they can go in and out of the black void on either side. Because when you're playing the really thin world, it's like there's nothing on the top and bottom. That's cool. Like they're like like Pac-Man, that they can go on one side and come out the other. Must be balling if you got Foundation to spare. I mean, to spare is like what you make of it, right? Chibi, I'm currently like, I beat the game last week, 2 weeks ago. Like I was able to get to the Space Station Edge, so I'm just showing off what I've done. And like yeah, at this point, like any Foundation I have is Foundation to spare. Because like I'm not like super duper like aggressive. I'm not like mega basic or anything like that. And I was just making Foundation just to like, I don't know, make things look pretty, I guess. Because it's mostly used here and it's mostly used on Full Gore, which we have not gotten to yet. But yeah, I had to like go and take care of an unnecessary visitor, or like not unnecessary. I had to go take care of a neighbor originally when I got here, which is took care of him on June 3rd, kind of to give you a sense of when I started getting back into the game, which is when they die, they get turned into this. But that one dude was covering about this entire area. And this area here is very new to me. Not when I beat the game, like for the majority of it, I was only running off of this. Only near the end of the game did I start like wanting to expand my other planets more. So yeah, Vulcanus, actually thinking about it, Vulcanus is my second least progressed, because Galba is definitely my least progressed, because on Vulcanus at least I have, you know, more calcite. I have this really good set of cold liquefaction to give me a lot more products over here. Like this looks so much nicer compared to like the spaghetti that I had down here. But I haven't like made a whole lot of stuff with this. Like, I have sulfur. This is where I'm getting most of my power from here. Because I have more acid neutralization powering a lot more turbines. To do this, of course, I had to deal with another guy, which... this is the only nuke I've fired in game so far. This was a medium demolisher. And I thought, like, maybe it would take, like, 1 or 2... Like, I thought it might take, like, 2 shots to kill him. This piece of lava was not here before I shot that nuke. That's where the head of the demolisher was. When you fire a nuke at a medium demolisher, it just kills it. And it just... This entire thing, like, it made a giant pit of lava, and just this entire thing died. It was insane. So that gave me, this entire area up here to work with. And then also I got rid of 2 more over here and over here. A little bit earlier than that, just to get some access to this coal here, which is what's getting pumped all the way down here. Since my original coal farm died, I need to, like, get some more coal from there. But yeah, this entire area up here was just because I needed some coal to power on my coal liquefaction up in this area. And the only reason I care about coal liquefaction up here is because A, I needed sulfur stuff, and also because I wanted to make something to do green belts, which are another thing you can only make on Vulcanus. So, my, like, new Vulcanus base consisted of, and here's the foundation again, using it to make this a lot nicer looking, was pulling molten ore, turning it into molten iron and copper, which then, again, this is just so simple right now. I brought in some electromagnetic plants from Fulgora. I moduled the heck out of them, and all they do is just make green circuits, make red circuits, which then just immediately get shipped over right here to the belt stack. So this takes, again, everything is just molten or shipped in. So it's just gears, plates, which get turned into transport belts, and splitters. Then you take the yellow versions of those, turn them into the red versions, with green circuits, again, from over here, and with, like, some gears, which are coming from up here still? No, the gears are coming from over here now, for both of these. So yellow gets turned into red, which then goes over here, gets turned into blue with the help of red circuits, again from over here, and gears from over here, which you can see these are stacked super high, because I'm using stack inserters, which you can, like, just build up with. And then from blue to green, finally, which need tungsten plates. So we have over here pumping in just a bunch of tungsten ore and the molten iron from before, and just, again, just stacking these plates down on here just to fill in here, just to finally get some green stuff, which is only used for my deep space vessel for the Stargazer right now. You'll kind of notice this as going through it, but the IPV, interplanetary vessels, use red. The OPV for Aquillo uses blue. And then the DSV for outer space uses green. Because it felt like a good, like, progression of, like, what do I need in each of these things. And then eventually, as I get bigger and bigger and bigger, we can use green for more things, because green is just the best one. How these work is that this produces 15... Actually, here. If you're interested in what the difference between all these is, it's this. Each one just goes at a different speed, effectively. So, yellow will go at 15 items per second. Red, you can see, goes faster at 30 items per second. Blue at 45, which up until Space Age was the fastest. And then, finally, green. And you can see how fast it's going compared to the other two. So what it is for efficiency. If we were to go, like, to... where's a good example? You see how over here, we're taking in... Maybe this isn't the best example of it. We need to be somewhere where we're, like, also using it up a lot. Which now we're backed up on red, so we're not using it that much anymore. But there are certain spots where, like, say that these were not able to get to the end of it, but we still had a lot being produced here. If this was faster, we could put more stuff on the belt and have it consumed further down the line. But we currently don't have any place where that's an issue, where we have a lot of buildup up here and don't have these getting fed. Because a lot of these are really, you know, copy-pasted designs. But if we were getting that, that's where, like, the bigger belts would be important for us. Get rid of those. Thank you, bots. I'll let them deal with that. I have no bots on me because I got from... Actually, hopefully someone will come and take this trash away in a second. Oh, it needs logistic bots. Hold on. Oh, logistic bots are nowhere near up here. I gotta go back down for them. But yeah, Vulcanus, fairly simple, all things considered. Really, really basic. Your entire goal is just to, again, make orange science. And then as you progress, you can, like, you know, make the special things here, like the green belts. The foundries, which are really important. Again, you can only make, like, green belts in foundries. And every foundry has this inherent production bonus, so you're getting free items every so often. Which is a big, like, bonus for them. There we go, everything's trashed out. But at its core, like, you're not getting attacked by anyone. Like, it's a super easy, really beginner-friendly planet to go to. But it's not the only one. Let's go ahead and... I need to set this up in a way as well. Let me do this real quick. Let's go to Gelba first, actually. So we're gonna go jump back up to the space station. And then as soon as we stop in, it should immediately start going again. Perfect. You can get rid of that. We're just going to use the Defiant to move around here. And we're going from Vulcanus to Gelba. I'd rather go to Fulgora next, but we'd have to go through Novice to get there. So we're just going to jump from here to here to here. Gelba was the planet I went to last, because it was the one that was a little bit intimidating to me. Because of both the spoilage that I mentioned earlier, and because, again, it's the only one with, like, enemies that could, like, theoretically, like, mess with you. But, as I learned, it's actually not as bad as I thought. At least not in the way that my thing is currently set up, so... Hey. Gelba, however, has, like, some of the best tools on it, which is, you know, I guess the balance of it. Or you get, like, some of the best research from it. Gelba and, like, Fulgora feel like they have, like, the best research, and Vulcanus feels like it's got metallurgic research, which is good for, it's good for, what am I thinking of? It's good for weapons, and it's good for, like, cliff explosives, and that's it. And that's kind of why I wanted to go to it first as well, because back when I was doing Novice stuff, there were so many cliffs in the way. Again, these are like cliffs where it's like impassable terrain, which is cool because it's defense, but it's not cool because it's hard to build around that. So I made sure on Vulcanus as well to make something that just generates me a lot of cliff explosives for when I needed them. Which you can see, by the way. I forgot to mention, all of these ships, their entire goal is to take product from one planet to another. In this case, like, the Defiant is the one that's specifically for Vulcanus. So its goal is to pick up cliff explosives, orange science, a few other, like, products that you can make there. In this case, green belts as well. And then ship it back to Novice. And whenever something gets emptied at Novice, it will go back to Vulcanus, fill up, and then come back. The Enterprise is the one that goes to Gelba. So it's getting green science. It wants to drop off spoilage when it can, because anything in here is going to spoil. It will also pick up carbon fiber and bioflux. And also Gelba, I just ship in my rocket stuff for Gelba because I don't want to deal with anything on here. It also now picks up stack inserters because that's a Gelba specific creation. Or at least it's easier to make on Gelba. It's not technically Gelba specific, but to make stack inserters you need to use Jelly, which Jelly has like a 3-minute expiration time. A 5-minute expiration time? A 4-minute expiration time, that's weird. But this is Gelba. And as you can see, this is effectively the entirety of my base on it. This is by far my least, like, expanded base. But it does exactly what it needs to do, so I'm happy with it. The goal with Gelba is that everything is very natural, and there are... It's a living world. So everything spoils. Your idea is to take the natural resources here, which is Jelly Nut and Yumako, and turn it into jelly and Yumako mash, which then get turned into other things and so on and so forth. But when you do that, you know, they only last for like 3 minutes or 4 minutes each, so you need to be constantly using it up. And if you're not using it up, it will spoil, and if it spoils, that could like halt your production lines. So you have a lot of these things where it's like, okay, if something spoils, it will get put in here. If you have spoilage here, it will get dumped into here. So on and so forth. Your goal is you have these areas of purple and of yellow-green where you can actually plant the trees you need to harvest material. So purple is where you can get jelly nut? Yes. And so that's what these agricultural towers that you saw on Novice were for, is their entire goal is to plant, in this case, jelly nut stem, or jelly stem, and then whenever it gets full, it will break it down, it will put the jelly nut in a chest, and then robots will come over here, pick up jelly nut, and bring it back to the base when they need it. However, if this spoils, which has a good chance of doing, they should also come over, because over here we have a requester chest that's always asking for spoilage. Anytime something is spoiled, it will get thrown over here, and then will get put in this heating tower, which just burns it to ash. And once it gets burnt to ash, once this is up and running, this generates heat, which can then, you know, as most sources of energy in our world, heat boils water into steam, makes power. So all I have is just like 1, 2, 3. Do I have a third one? Do I not have a third one, really? Oh, is it up here? I do, but it's not near, nothing's being made here yet. Ah. Because it's out of range of my requester chests. But yeah, the only thing is just, you have tree farms that will give you a product that you're then gonna process. However, instead of pollution, this is spores. So harvesting trees will release spores in the atmosphere, and if spores are in the atmosphere, it will get the attention of the natives, which in this case are... Let's see... There they are! Oh my god, they attack from really far away. They are the stompers, and what are they, only crawlers? Oh, they're just called pentapods, okay. Look at them! And they're like the little smaller baby ones too. So that's why this area was like worrying to me, was I didn't want to have to like deal with these guys or with their spawners, which are Agraphs. And I'm really hoping I'm not like that they're not gonna like go and attack my base now that I've aggroed them a little bit. But look at them, they're so cool looking. Like, this is a really, really neat planet. I just like, I don't want to deal with this. But like, it's like, yeah, look at that. Here are the Agraphs, which are basically where they spawn from, or where they can spawn from. And oh my god, I'm just gonna lose them over this water here. There's a really good chance I'm gonna bring some guys back with me, which is gonna be a little bit worrying, but that's why we have a Spidertron here just in case. But yeah, they get attracted to the spores that are released by the trees, so that's what I'm kind of worried about. But our production here is so small, and I think their expansion is a little bit bugged, where no one has expanded into, like, I feel like they have not expanded at all. Where I don't feel like I've gotten attacked here, like, ever. So, it's fairly lax here for me right now, and I'm very happy with that. So we have Jelly Sim over there. You have Yumako over on the right. Same exact idea. You have Yumaku trees getting grown. It gets picked when it's full. Put it in a chest, which this one will actually just send it over here. I think I have a chest of Yumako here. Where's the big chest, though? Here? Yeah, which is immediately getting used up, apparently. Which will then, yeah, these are the biochambers. Again, everything here is very natural. So, you take your mash, you turn it into nutrients. These biochambers, which is the Gelba-specific assembler, needs nutrients to function. So you need to keep feeding it food. And to get food, you have to, like... You get jelly, you get Yumako mash. You turn it into Bioflux together. Bioflux is fuel. You can then turn the fuel into nutrients. The nutrients can then power your jelly nut and your Yumako processing, right? It's a very cyclical thing that you have to keep removing spoilage from, because if there's spoilage, it might stop your automation. And if there is spoilage, you can then turn it into carbon, which can be used for a few different things. I think I use it for... Oh, carbon gets turned into carbon fiber, which is a type of material you can use for stack inserters, for foundation, for quantum processors, fusion reactors, tool belts, rocket turrets, that's an important one, and for railguns. So it's a higher level product, but you don't need that much of it. You kind of do, but at the same time, to beat the game, you don't really need that much, so I just have one little thing doing it. Like, this is the general idea here, but the actual crux of Gelba with any planet is the science. So if you look at here, these are just two, and this is where, like I said on Vulcanus, now it's just like everything from here on out is just my designs, effectively. So the goal here is to get the Gelba Agricultural Science Pack. To do that, you need Bioflux, which is, you know, simple. It's jelly, Yumako mash, put it together. And then you can make Bioflux, which can also be turned into nutrients to power everything. Very simple. The other thing, which is the scarier bit, is you need pentapod eggs. They have a spoil time of about 15 minutes. And, you know, if the 50 minutes ends, they'll hatch. And if they hatch, well, you get a Wriggler. And if you get a Wriggler, then it can start damaging your stuff. So it's really important that you don't get a backup of, you know, pentapod eggs. As we kind of have right here, which I'm a little bit worried about. But we're constantly making this, so it's mostly fine. I'm really interested, actually. I have not had any issues with this so far, but your entire goal here is to make pentapod eggs, you take one egg, and you can then turn it into 2 eggs. Using up an egg will give you 2 new eggs, so it can refresh the cooldown timer on it. And as long as your eggs are getting used up before 50 minutes is up, they won't hatch. So you need to constantly, like, make sure that you're using up all the eggs you have, and you're not, like, making... Like, you can see here, there's not a big buildup on the right. If there was, we might be in a bigger issue. But, like, I made sure that only so many can be in the storage, so we can't get, like, a big backup of, like, 400 eggs that we're not going to use. You want to be running really lean here, because you always want to just have just enough to, like, make it work. So over here, you had to, like, go kill some pentapods, go kill some egg rafts, get a few eggs to start this up. But then you just start generating more eggs here and turning into green science. Really, really, really basic design. I think I'm making, like, what? This gets me a combined total of 2.4 science per second. Which is pretty good, actually. Considering that on Novice, our what, blue science, right, which was an issue, this is getting us 1.6 with, what, 24 crafters? We're getting 2.4 with just these 2. So overall, not too shabby. So luckily, I didn't have to stay on Gelba that long. It is a very cool planet, though. It's very wet. there are a lot of different trees. There's Tefali, there's the Jelly Nut and the Yumako I mentioned, there's Funnel Trunk, there's Boom Puff, which, as the name might imply, explodes. Like it's a very fun, very natural, very like ocean kind of minded planet, but also it kind of stinks, and they do like it. So everything about this planet is just like, I want to make as little impact as possible. I don't want to disturb the native inhabitants of this planet. So my entire base is just here, with a little branch out here to get Yumako Mash, and a little bit here to get Jelly Nut. Not fish, but yes. I don't know if you saw it earlier, Dolly. We can make a real quick detour back to see the boys. This is the planet that has, where are they? There they are. Look how big that dude is, too. Ah. And there are their egg graphs. Like, yeah, that's these guys. And that's why I don't want to be, like, I'm just gonna make my little green signs and get out. I don't wanna have to deal with this. Because walls will not do anything against them. Like, you have to make it, like, active defenses. You want to deal with that, and I'm just going to be, like, just visiting, just popping in. So everything is done by, like, this very, very tiny, very, very efficient base here. Aww. Like I said, everything, like, all of the rocket launch supplies, if I want to launch a rocket, I have to, like, import that from Novice to launch rockets up to space. I have some dirt here as well, which can be used to, like, fill in gaps, because it's a very, very wet planet. Like, it's hard to tell, but, like, this dark red is actually, like, wet. You can't actually grow anything here. You'd have to, like, landfill this stuff in with either dirt or with, preferably, you can make artificial soil or overgrowth soil, which you can then, like, that will fit specifically into these areas, so you can actually grow this plant. Because the plant doesn't grow anywhere, right? These need to be grown in purple. These need to be grown in green-yellow. But specifically, they have to grow on, like, this color green-yellow and not this color green-yellow. So if I ever needed to ramp up, I could with, you know, these soils, but I'm good. And also, again, to make sure that you're not, like, that you're continuously moving, I also have this over here, which just completely just destroys Bioflux. Because if we ever get a backup of stuff here, it could be really bad. So if we ever have more than 3,000 Bioflux in this container, it just immediately gets trashed. For two reasons. A, it takes the spoiled stuff out first. So, like, over here, it will take out, like this or this before we'll take out, like, this one, right? So that we're only getting the freshest Bioflux back to Novice. Because that's one of the things that we make here, right? We make, on Gelba, the things that the Enterprise, this is the Gelba ship, needs, are the green science, carbon fiber, and Bioflux. Bioflux spoils. Carbon fiber doesn't, obviously, but Bioflux does. So we only want, like, good Bioflux that will, like, be able to last on the ship, be able to last on Novice, and be able to feed our boys up here, right? So any excess just immediately gets recycled into nothingness. Recyclers, of course, being a very important tool on our next planet, Fulgora. And then everything else, just all the spoilage goes over here, gets burnt, keeps this going. Very weird, very interesting planet. Also, stack inserters coming in here. I'm gonna turn this off for a second. Because I need to go. I don't want the rocket to leave without me. I'm gonna take the next rocket out of here. The rock spider babies. I wouldn't want to use a nuke on this planet because, actually, maybe I would in a way. I don't want to mess with them. I don't want to mess with them. They have numbers on me. It's not like the worms. I feel bad for the worms though, because I like the worms the most. Okay, this is fully ready. Can I travel space with items in your inventory? Oh, I have trash. Okay. Please take my trash away. Thank you. Okay, back to the Defiant. So 2 planets down, 1 more to go in the interplanetary system. You must assert dominance over the landscape as the invasive species. No! We gotta learn to live with the land. Hold on, go to Fulgora. There we go. And we're gonna be dropping to Fulgora. There we go. So as a reminder, we started on Novice, the Earth-like planet. We went to Vulcanus, the lava planet. Then to Gelba, the swampy, living planet. And finally, we're going to go to Fulgora. Out of the inner planets, we're going to go to Fulgora, which is the electromagnetic planet. It's the ruinous planet. H-bomb versus crying baby. It's coughing baby, coughing baby. Hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby with the spiders. No. Again, everything in the interplanetary system has these medium asteroids. You can easily get rid of them with yellow ammo. If you want to go harder, you can, but yellow ammo will take care of basically everything you're looking at here. Let's drop off, though. Fulgora is, I think, my favorite of the inner planets. It's not my favorite planet overall, but it's a planet that I kind of like the idea of a lot more. Because this is a planet that has actually no enemies. I said Vulcanus had no enemies, but that's a lie. It actually has enemies, but they're not invasive for Vulcanus because they stick to their little lanes. Gelba is scary. You don't know when they're gonna get you. That's why, you know, defense is important, but like also just don't build a big area. Easy. Fulgora, there is nothing. Fulgora is ruinous. Fulgora is just filled with ruins of an ancient civilization. So when you touch down here, your first goal is to just rip up some ruins, which will give you a few different items, including scrap, rock, iron, copper, what have you. When I originally landed on Fulgora, which, yeah, actually, let's go do that. I got dropped off at my actual base in Fulgora, but when I first landed, I started over... Whoop. Do I have enough fuel here? I do. Nice. I originally started all the way over here. Thank you, Dolly. What's that, spare parts? Spare parts. Important thing today. We are in technically a Factory X zone. Make sure that you wear your PPE. Thank you. All right. Now then. A sad screen spare parts friend. Oh, that's a good one, actually. The crying cat meme, but with spare parts. Oh. I would never. That would be so sad in a way to get spare parts crying cat. But that's actually. I don't know why I never thought about using spare parts for cat meme potential in that kind of way. Oh, Dolly, you're cooking there. But this is... I landed on Fulgora over on this little rocky area. And I came over here because this is where the scrap was. Fulgora, as I mentioned, is all about ruins. By the way, this is Oil Ocean. You can walk on it. You can fly on it. Flying is faster because it's like very slow, and this is really fast for me. There's normal Oil Ocean and deep Oil Ocean. You can build rail supports on normal Oil Ocean. You can't build it on deep Oil Ocean until you get research done. So what you do on Fulgora, you have to mine up with electric mining drills scrap. Then you put it in a recycler, which will turn scrap into one of 12 different things. It can get turned into gear wheels, solid fuel, concrete, ice, steel, batteries, stone, advanced circuits, copper cables, processing units, low density structures, and whole me more. Now you might be looking at this and saying, wow, that's percentages, and you're right. But also you have to be looking at this and saying like, wow, low density structures, process units, and red circuits, and batteries are like things that on Novice, we had to like, you know, go through this entire chain to get these things. These are really, you know, high-end materials, and you can just get them for free here as scrap, which is a really neat thing. So you have these sushi belts come out, and then depending on your design, you might just like have like bots sorted out or you might have, like, chains and chains of splitters to split them apart. My original base looks like this. Very small, just getting scrap, sorting into these chests. I originally had some active chests here that the bots would sort them into. My main goal here was to make lightning rods and to make electromagnetic plants, because that's what I would need later on. Lightning rods because that is how you make power on this planet. The day-night cycle on this planet is really short. It's like a minute and a half. And during the night, electrical storms happen. And if you have lightning rods, like here or here, the lightning will hit it, and it will then take the energy there, and you can store it in these batteries, which are how you store energy on Novice as well, or on our space stations, but, like, you need them so much more here, because lightning doesn't, like, one strike of lightning will give you a lot of energy, but it won't last. Whereas this allows it to last. So by making our lightning rods, by making our electromagnetic plants here, we were able to leave this really, really tiny island. Because that's the big issue with this. Until you get foundation to fill this in, you're stuck on whatever islands the game generates for you. So, little island, decent island, decent island. I used to have some buildings here. Decent island, decent island. I had to, like, search for a while. This was pretty good. But, like, I just walked over, like, day and night, like, with, like, 1 or 2 lightning rods in my backpack, just trying to find where a good size island was before I finally found this bad boy over here. So I made a little train to get me back and forth while I was, like, setting it up, which is this train right here. Again, it can only go through, like, normal oil ocean. It can't go through deep oil ocean. Now it can, but at the time I was making it, I couldn't do that. So I have this little, like, starter base here of, like, I was thinking I might be doing here. There's some batteries here. You can see, obviously, it's nighttime, so you're getting electric shocks on the lightning rods, which then travel via the wires to, like, these over here, but this is fully charged up. But our big boy is over here. Or a second big boy. This is actually... Fulgora is, like, probably my most advanced... Maybe. It's kind of tied with Aquillo on, like, how good of a design this is. But I think I've remade this more recently than Aquillo. Canonize the other hanger cats. Oh my god! So spare parts can be the good one, and the other ones can be, like, the devious members of it. But after the really, really basic starter base, which doesn't even make science, it just gets me, like, holmium plates, which are used to, like, get some basic research. Then I was able to make this area. Originally, I only had 1 rocket here. I upgraded to 3 as we learn more. You can see that I have a lot of stone here because concrete is one of the products you just randomly get from scrap. So there's just a lot of concrete here that I just ended up putting down here to make it look nicer. But the goal here is you have this island of, you know, 48 million bits of scrap. A train will take it, bring it over here, where it will then get, you know, put on these belts and put into these 16 recyclers, which will then turn it into all kinds of product. And then it will have to go through these sorters, effectively. So iron gear wheels get taken off, get put over here. We store a few of them. All the other ones get, like, melted down, recycled from gear wheels into plates. If we have too many plates, then the plates get recycled into nothingness. Then we go ice. The ice gets turned into water. If there's too much ice, it gets like spit out into... If you put an odd item into a recycler, there is a chance that the recycler will spit back the item again, and there's a chance it will spit back nothing. So what this is doing is, puts in ice, there is a 75% chance it spits at nothing, which is preferable, and there's a 25% chance it spits another thing of ice. And if it does, the ice just goes whoop, 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 and right back into it. Because for this, we just want to get rid of it. We keep going. It splits off solid fuel, which can then get turned into rocket fuel, or gets recycled. Then into concrete, which gets, you know, stored or recycled. then into steel, which gets stored or recycled, then into batteries, stored, recycled, and so on and so forth, right? Because if there's ever a, like, backup of any of these things, then you can't get something else, right? Say you have a backup of gear wheels up here, how are you going to get holmium ore, which is a lot rarer? Like, we do, here, do this, into this. Like you can see that holmium ore is 1%. Holmium ore is really important in this, so you're going to be using up a lot. However, if you have a bunch of gear wheels stopping your conveyor belt, how are you going to make more holmium ore? So you constantly need to recycle products to keep the lines moving. Spare parts, this is a very much we need to keep the lines moving. We need to keep processing everything we can. So if we ever have a surplus of something, it needs to be recycled down so we can store more of it. And so that's what this basic base did, was it just sorted everything out, and then using mostly bots, it would then make the science. Which to do that you needed electrolyte, holmium solution, and supercapacitors. Which to make capacitors you need superconductors, which to make conductors you needed plastic, holmium plates, and copper plates. Holmium plates you made by using the holmium ore that I mentioned earlier, along with water and stone. Stone you also get from the recycling. Water you get from melting ice, which you get from recycling. Which then get turned into plates, easy enough. This, copper and plastic are not things you get from recycling. Neither is light oil. Light oil is easy enough. This is oil ocean, like I said. So you can literally just pump heavy oil in and then crack it into like light oil. Easy enough. Super duper easy to do. Like, all the oil stuff is super nice on this planet. But like, copper, plastic, how do you get that? Well, not only are you doing this to destroy stuff, say you take these red circuits, for instance. A red circuit, if you recycle it, you're also going to get plastic bars, green circuits, or copper cables. Because red circuits actually can decompose. Unlike an iron plate or unlike a thing of ice, you can backtrack from red circuits into constituent parts. So you can get plastic from red circuits. You can get plastic from red circuits. You take the copper cable, turn the copper cable back into copper plates. So by recycling, you can then get things to make conductors, turn those into capacitors using, again, green circuits, batteries. Your electrolyte, you're taking heavy oil straight from the ground, along with holmium solution and rocks to make electrolyte. And all the other, you can make one electromagnetic science pack. And then again, you know, use some bots to like fill in some other areas here and there. You know, make some more recyclers, make a few electromagnetic plants. This was a pretty good setup I had. Fulgora is one of my favorite inner planets, so as you might be able to see here, this is not my final base for Fulgora. As you can follow this train, which you've seen, like, there's nothing on these lines. Nothing gets done over here anymore, but I just keep it around because I like it. If you see, the train can go right, too. And over here, this is where the good stuff happens. Oh god, we have a backup of something. This should not be like this. Uh-oh. Seriously, we're gonna have to... Spare parts, you ready? We're gonna have to problem solve in real time. All the scrap gets put down here. Gets put into these 32 recyclers. And you can see, look at all that just trash. All that random assortment of garbage. And then it gets sorted out into iron gear wheels, which get recycled down into plates. Gear wheels can get stored here. Plates can get stored here. Get sent off. Ice gets sent off, can be stored here. Like, I have so many big buffers that can just be filled with these items. Which can then get, like, sent off and destroyed if need be. Like, this is the base. It's so much larger. It's so much cooler. I'm very, very happy with this. This is something of entirely my own design. However, we're looking for where the backup is. So we're getting holmium ore pulled off here. We're getting stone pulled off here. Batteries! Oh, I feel like at some point I did say to myself, I don't have anything to recycle batteries. Well, service crew. Let's take a real quick detour here. Batteries are going to recycle down into what? Iron and copper? Okay, easy enough. The big issue for me is... I guess we're going to do it like this. And say... We're going to put this here. And what this will do is... How this works, how a lot of my recycling things here work are... If you can see this red wire that's connected here over to here. This red wire can read how many rocks are in these boxes. And then if there are more than like 16,000 rocks, this will turn on and it can recycle. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll use green wire because we don't want to get it mixed up with the red wire here. So connect all those together. Then take a bit of road there. Connect that to there. And we'll say we'll enable this when our battery is greater than, let's say 72,000. There we go. So right now it would be on. Like, it will continue going forward. And when it does, it will get turned into... We'll need to put some recycling things here. And then we'll need to split it out into different bits and pieces. So we're just going to do this real quick. I'm going to build it over here, I think is good. Actually, yeah, how do I want to do this? Get it to around there. This is really simple, but this will work at the very least. It won't be super high throughput, but I don't know how fast it takes for a battery to get recycled. Here, and as we're getting, like, as we're moving batteries along, you can see that this is now moving, and then, you know, sorting out the red circuits, sorting out blue circuits. Like, this is how it should be going. It should be, like, sorting the entire time. Like, look at this in actual action. This is when it gets nice. Oh. Look at it. It's beautiful. Alright, but what we need to do now is, yeah, so this is making these two. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna take a splitter. Actually, here, do it like that. Actually, yeah, we'll put it like here. That's probably fine. And we'll say, we'll filter copper out here and then iron out the other way. Which the copper can get fed in here. Oh, that's gonna be annoying to get to. This is where the spaghetti comes in. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So here. No. Ah! Into here. Almost like that. Done. Okay, there we go. I got it. We can filter it this way. And then it can just go on there. Nice. Good enough. And then we need to get iron as well. Where is my iron's all the way down here. I don't have anything flooding into it yet. Can I make this gap? Cannot make that gap. That's annoying. Who designed this thing? We can make it take the long way around, I guess. And we're getting it from, what, over here? This is awful, isn't it? Can Can I make that? I don't know if I can make that gap. I think I need to do this now. Hey, nice. That is the most spaghettified thing I've ever done. I probably would have, like, navigated this a little bit more eloquently if I could, but, like, look at this. Taking trash, taking this sushi belt, cutting things off here, here. Like, everything is just slowly getting taken away as it can. Well, how are these going? Oh, here. Turn these into these as well. And then also we want some speed modules on these? Done. So hopefully all that combined should be able to get these to cut out the batteries faster. Because, again, our entire goal here is just to keep things moving. The fact that this, like, battery line is not moving at all, and it's so backed up is what's, like, causing this to, like, not be continually in motion, continually in progress. There we go. Actually... you might be able to do that. I'm not gonna finish with that right now. This is good enough for now. It's getting things moving. It's getting things knocked backed up. But, like, yeah, Fulgore is just all about having things continually move. If you have a backup of something, you have to destroy it. Or else it will just cause your entire factory to just stop in its tracks, like just then. Which can happen pretty easily. But by doing that, you have all this sorted out. All it gets, like, turned into its constituent parts. That means you can then just filter them all into here. You can make holmium plates in a foundry that you got from Vulcanus. You can turn things into ice, into holmium solution, into electrolyte. You can filter in your batteries, your iron plates, turn it into accumulators. You can take your stacks and stacks of, like, batteries and green circuits and plastic and copper and just feed them into these things, into these, like, electromagnetic plants. Make yourself some superconductors along with the accumulators, flip it back in here, and just make a long, nice line of electromagnetic science packs. It is just, oh, chef's kiss on this one. Just a really, really nice, giant sorting area. And, like, look at it. Now that yes! Oh! That looks like it's good enough for us. We could probably have put, like, 2 more of these in here to really speed it up. But it looks like it is taking a chunk out of the batteries. Like, the battery generation from scrap is probably pretty small. It is, yeah, 4% as opposed to, like, something like 20%. So this is enough to make it run lean. Which is absolutely what we want. Fantastic. So then, yeah, you can just fully just fill everything in. Here is my giant accumulator farm. Because, again, your entire goal is just taking a lot of electricity from the storms at night, store it up, and then use it during the day when you don't have power. It is kind of amazing. But this is not my favorite overall planet. That belongs to Aquillo, the last planet. Gonna take us a second to get there because we're gonna have to go back to Novice real quick. Then we're gonna have to hop on a different ride. Because none of the planets, none of the ships we've seen so far, the IPVs, the interplanetary vessels, they're all designed for medium asteroids. They're all designed to just survive in the inner planets between, you know, Vulcanus, Novice, Gelba, and Fulgora. There we go. Go back to Novice now. Thank you. Heard about these. Watching this game be played stresses me out. How does a human being keep track of this? It's hard. Just turn your brain into a computer, Asmo. It already basically is in a way. It's I said this earlier as well. It's like no different than like the people that have like the Minecraft mob farms to me. And like I don't know how those work, but I know how this works. It's the same kind of like skill set in a way. It's all about like programming, honestly. Also, it's just the more you play, the more you build off it. Because at its core, like I was saying earlier, it's all like, turn the thing into the thing into the thing. And each, like, that's Novice as it's simple. But then Vulcanus, Gelba, and Fulgora give you a new challenge or twist to that. Because, yeah, that's what Fulgora's thing is just sorting things out. Gelba's is keep making stuff. Don't let anything get backed up because it will spoil. So they're kind of similar in a way. Vulcanus is all just about excess. And, again, getting rid of, like, product. But let's go back down to Novice real quick. They are nothing compared to the last one. I don't even know, like, I know what the challenge on Aquillo is, but I like Aquillo, so I don't care. So let's get dropped off at our cargo landing pad. Home sweet home. It is very much an addiction machine, but I beat it. So my addiction's been waning. I've kind of been like, I need to find a new addiction machine for off stream. And I've been grinding a lot of Melty Blood type Luna again because of that. I've been learning Mash Kirillito. Chibi, you are correct. You are IMO objectively correct. So true. All the IPVs are interplanetary vessels. We need an outer planetary vessel, and they're both at Aquillo right now. What the hell? Which one of you has been here for longer? Okay, we're gonna have to wait a second because someone decided to go to Aquillo and not tell me. I'm doing a victory lap, Aeon. I'm doing a victory lap. Also, Chibi, you're correct, and also I don't do. Haha. I made sure quality mod was enabled because I didn't know if it would break anything, but I never researched quality because I dislike this as a design mechanic, but I understand the benefits of it that it could have, but I just like, yeah, no, this is disgusting to me. Even though I know the benefits that it could have, it's just like I feel like when Space Age first came out, I was not the only one that did this. I don't know if the sentiment has changed that much now. So sure, while we're waiting for my for the Europa to get back here, yeah, what Chibi's talking about is the quality module. So there are in the base game there is speed, production, and efficiency, which gives you faster things, more things, or more efficient things, respectively. Quality is introduced in Space Age, and it's basically gambling. You have if something has a quality module in it, in like an assembling machine, in an electromagnetic plant, it can like make a uncommon or rare quality product, or an epic quality product, or a legendary quality product if you upgrade it, if you like get the other things for it. And what that means is, take for instance this assembler. A normal assembler crafts at 1.25 times speed, so faster than a human can. However, a legendary assembler can craft at 3 times speed. So it's pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong. There is a purpose for this, but like, then you have to like care about like, okay, oh, there's a legendary piece of gear in my like gear assembling line or whatever, which is not fully how it works, I understand, but yeah, I just don't, I don't have a care for quality, so I haven't messed with it. The biggest thing for quality is power poles IMO, because having an increased reach for wire or for supply area as power poles do, that seems sick. But I ain't dealing with quality for that, heck no. Okay, are we back yet? Maybe we're still not back. Are they at Gelba? They're still making their way to Gelba. How much fuel do you have? You have fuel. Just takes a hot minute. Didn't realize. Look at my trees, though. Nice and green. Just sit back, relax. Take a look. The day is now starting again. The lights are shutting off. I've got 8 rockets, all of them filled with Prod 3 modules. All of them super beaconed up with these speed module beacons. So we're making rockets at 5 times the speed that they normally would be made. It's pretty nice. Legendary asteroid collectors have 5 arms. That's kind of cool. I feel like I've never had an issue with collectors not collecting that many asteroids. But like that is just aesthetically, that's kind of sick. So this is New Game Plus, where you remove some of the Gamba pain points for a couple of addiction machine experience. Well, no, because even like this isn't even New Game Plus. You can just make this yourself. I will say this is New Game Plus though, in the fact that like I've beaten it, and now like if I want to make myself more crazy and watch the number go up more, I can do that. Because like the entire goal of the game, Aeon, is to just make more. Like I've done everything. Every other research I have now is an infinite research that will just keep going on forever and ever and ever. And so now the goal of the game, if I kept playing it, would just be to like I could make my research more efficient. And to do that, I need to make research more efficient, to make research more efficient. And that it's a feedback loop game. The OPV is back. As I said before, IPV, interplanetary vessel. OPV, outer planetary vessel. There's only one outer planet though. It's called Aquillo, and that's where we're gonna be headed. Guess it makes sense. Regarding your game knowledge point. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the context, Asmo. I think I still would have known that given it, but I do sometimes lose context, so I appreciate that very much. It still looks insane to me, but I've had the Pokemon type chart memorized since 12. Yes, it's exactly like that. If you spend enough time with anything, you're bound to pick up on it, right? It's our skill as humans. I guess while I'm waiting for this to get its request satisfied, because it still needs some fuel and still needs some rocks, I showed you the IPV. It's a very small ship. You can see like it is 422 tons, has 1.9 like space foundation parts in there. The OPV is a little bit bigger. It's at 480 tons. It takes a little over 2.2k foundation blocks or space blocks. And it's thinner, actually, because this is 5 versus this is 7. And the big thing here is Aquillo, being really far away from the sun, it doesn't have as much solar power as, like, Fulgora or anywhere else. So, the OPVs are powered via nuclear energy, which is, it's empty right now, but as long as this is above 600, it's fine. So, these will only put a fuel cell in if they're under, like, 550. If they're over 500, it's fine, excuse me. But, like, yeah, if they get low enough, they'll put a fuel cell in, but until then, they're good. So, all these do, they take it, they turn it into heat, they boil water. The water gets turned into steam, the steam powers the turbines. It always just comes down to boiling water, so it always just comes down to boiling water. That's how we get power, though. Everything else is very similar to before. You're getting asteroids from around the place. You're dumping onto the main belt. It's going down to here, where it gets processed. We have advanced processing. So instead of just iron, it's also getting us copper ore. Instead of just carbon, it's also getting us sulfur. And instead of water, it's getting us calcite. Where's the... It's up here. And so all those get put on the belt. Similar to before, ice gets melted into water. Now we can make advanced oxidizer and advanced fuel, which takes carbon and iron as before, but adds calcite in there. And that will give us a lot more fuel, is the big thing. Because obviously we're going a much further distance away. We need a lot more fuel to do so, right? Okay, we have a request satisfied. I'm gonna kick this up while I keep talking. So we have a lot of fuel over here because we're making bigger distances. Beforehand, we were like jumping here to here, here to here, here to here. Those are all about 15,000 kilometers. This will have to go 15,000 kilometers plus 30,000 kilometers, no matter which route it takes. So, you know, you're tripling the distance you're traveling. Everything that it makes, by the way, then gets pumped up here, where you're making iron as before, but you're also making copper and steel, because yellow ammo won't do it. You also need red ammo, which will then need the copper and the steel, and you'll need rockets. Those are what you'll need to deal with the outer planetary large asteroids. And again, as before, any excess gets tossed off the side, because this is the important thing. Just like Gelba, just like Fulgora, you need to keep the lines moving. You can't get backed up on anything, so the easiest way to do that is to just throw everything you don't need off the side of the ship. Some people take longer than others to learn into it. You've played enough games in a genre, you can already make good guesses before learning. I agree with that. I agree with that, yeah. So yeah, this entire goal here is just to keep getting things around. To make rocket, by the way, we also need explosives. To do that, you have to take carbon, sulfur, and water. That turns into coal. Coal, along with sulfur and water, gets explosives. Then, easily enough, gets pumped over here, rockets. So, on the inner belt, you have not only ammo, but you have rockets. All your gun turrets are here. And then you have rocket turrets here and here. The thing about this is, gun turrets have a range of, like, this green arrow here, or green radius here. That's our gun turret range. Rocket turrets, much bigger, but they have a dead zone. The goal here, though, is rocket turrets destroy large asteroids, and then gun turrets destroy medium and smaller. So you can see I have priorities that say only hit big ones. And then these ones only hit medium and below. I do, Chibi, I do. Because you need to beat the game. So that's what the Stargazer's for. We'll get there in like a bit, but yeah, oh. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Yeah, this one, there are a few solar panels just because I had some spots on it, but like the majority of the power here is getting generated by our you know, boiling water, as usual. But now we're on our big journey from Fulgora to Aquillo. So now, let's zoom out. You see medium asteroids, but as we get closer, big asteroid, and a lot of them are going to be oxide, because Aquillo is cold. So we're going to see some big metallic or some big carbonic, but a lot of this is we're going to see a lot of big oxide asteroids, which you can hear the rocket launcher just sending it out, shattering them, where then these gun turrets can take quick work of the medium and small asteroids that kind of fall out of there. A big thing with this, by the way, since you're getting mostly big oxide asteroids, it's really important you have these things up and running too. So these break down asteroids into their constituent parts. These ones, I have them at the recipe that will turn asteroids into potentially other asteroids. And you're going to see this one's going to be running like all the time now. Because we're always going to have a lot of oxide asteroid chunks, and we might not have that many metallic or carbonic asteroid chunks. So the entire goal here is to just try to get equilibrium of the asteroid chunks you have, so you can have equilibrium of the items you're making here. Yeah, and you can see as we're like making stuff we don't need, we just keep tossing it off the side. If we're over a certain limit, like, okay, if we have more than 15 sulfur, we don't need to get it out of here. If we have over 15 of copper, we don't need to get out of here. Like, over 40 carbon, we don't need to get out of here. We want to run, like, we want this line to keep moving as much as it can. But, Sir Screw, we have made it to Aquillo, the best planet. Let's take a look. Da da da. Oh, we got here at night too. Look at it. Oh, I love night on Aquillo. So Aquillo is the ice planet. It is, you know, very far out in space. It's freezing. This is liquid ammonium out here. Nothing but like ice flows in the middle of the ocean, and like This is straight up actually ocean. It's ammonia ocean, but it's ocean. Unlike Fulgora, where you can walk on, you cannot walk on this. So you really need to have like the mech suit at this point in the game, theoretically. You don't need it, but it makes it a lot nicer. Gotcha. Thank you, Nikiashi, for popping in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good night. And good luck with your own Factorio. Look at this bad boy, though. This is by far my favorite. I like the ice aesthetic of this planet. But because it's ice, you see this orange stuff going through. That's heating pipe. The same heating pipe that is used kind of here, if you can see it. The same heating pipe used here, as I mentioned earlier. But that's because everything on Aquillo needs to be warmed up. Otherwise, it will freeze, like this guy out here. I have an extra cryogenic plant. I like to put it out here because it looks aesthetically pleasing. But if you can kind of see the color of it, it should normally look like look at this versus this. This is because it's frozen solid right now. This one is currently active and working because it's next to a heating pipe. Everything on Aquillo needs to be warmed up. So you need to have heating towers, and you need to constantly have them fed to at least like 500 or something. I have these at 900 just to like keep them active. But like you just need warmth on here at all times. And so everything needs to be adjacent to a heating pipe, which makes for really, really interesting designs. Like I don't know how to put it, but like just something about Aquillo I liked a lot more than like any other planet. I think it's because like getting the heat up and running in the first place was really hard for me. But once it got up and running and like we just like make steam power, everything was so cool. So how this works is you pump in some ammonia and then you turn it into ice, and you pump in some ammoniacal solution, excuse me. And you turn it into ice and into actual ammonia. The ice can then be turned into water via melting, of course. Or if there's too much of it, you just get rid of it in recycling bits. Ammonia can get stored and is then used for solid fuel, rocket fuel, and for a few things down the line like lithium production, or for fluoroketone. Like I don't know what it was about this, but just everything about this clicked and was really fun to me. So this is like pure spaghetti. This is like the purest, most honest form of spaghetti in this base, and I love it so much. Because I could just walk you through this entire base. Over here, I landed here. I put down some electricity. I expanded as we got more. But like, it starts here. You get ammonia. You pump an ammoniacal solution, turn it into ammonia. The ammonia gets stored here. It gets turned into solid fuel, which then gets used in the rocket fuel formula. The only thing this is used for, really, is to just make sure that these things are hot. It can also be used for this, but we are also shipping in rocket fuel from off-site, so we're never at a need for rocket fuel, typically, and rocket fuel will just keep us warm. But besides from that, the ammonia solution is also used. It gets pumped over to here to make lithium. You can get lithium by breaking apart rocks. There are some, like over here. There are huge lithium ice formations, which will have ice, lithium, and some flow. Flow being what you can use to like make platforms on the ice. But that's not sustainable. You need to be able to make your own. So to make your own lithium, you're going to need holmium plates. So you need to ship those in from Fulgora. So that's why these ships need to be like up and running and be able to run. Because they'll have holmium plates shipped in, which then get dropped off, put in this chest, get put into here, along with some lithium brine, which gets pumped in from a little flow patch over here, which again, everything needs to be heated. Everything needs to be heated. Oh wow, lithium's not a percentage thing like a couple other gases are. Lithium is actually like a solid, like it can run out. Wow. It's kind of good to know. Yeah, lithium brine gets pumped in. mixed with the holmium plates from off-site, along with ammonia, and gets turned into lithium. Lithium then gets turned, can be used for fluoroketone, or can get smelted into plates, which are used later on down the line as well. So we have this one factory supplying 3 plates and 1 fluoroketone, because the fluoroketone we're making is in excess, because we can recycle it pretty easily. So a lot of it's going to lithium plates, which can then be like, they're used further up ahead, and they're also stored up ahead. We'll get to there later. The fluoroketone's the next and most important part. This is warm. It's at 180 degrees Celsius, which is actually not that warm in the overall, but for an ice planet, that's pretty warm. 180 Celsius is like, wait, no. 180 Celsius is extremely warm. Wait a minute, hold on. I was thinking Kelvin. And I was like, oh, 180 Kelvin's like under that. No, this is just actually warm. Oh my god. So we're taking 180 Celsius fluoroketone. We're storing it because, again, we have a lot of excess of it. And then what we can do is, because these are cryogenic plants, we can then cool it down into fluoroketone cold, which is at minus 150 Celsius. I feel like they just made the numbers up a little bit, honestly. But yeah, we turn it into fluoroketone, which we then turn into normal cold fluoroketone. This, of course, takes lithium. Solid fuel, which we need from over here. And fluorine, which, again, we just pump out. We pump it from over here. Is that the only thing that's pumping No shot. I have one thing pumping fluorine. I forgot about that. Wow. And it's just storing over here because we don't need that much of it, I guess. And of course I can like go get more fluorine over here if I need to, but for the time being, drill baby drill. That one dude is doing so much work. But again, like I said, like we're always at so much of this because typically you're not actually like using, typically this will make byproduct. You take fluoroketone, you ice it up, and then it's used in your science packs for Aquillo, where you'll get ice, which is easy, you just pump it from offshore. Lithium plates, which you made off of here. And the fluoroketone, which you're just pumping out. And then we'll output blue science, or cryogenic science, as well as hot fluoroketone. And that's where it comes in at. You're taking in 6 fluoroketone and you're pumping out 3. So you are losing some. Even with these 3, though, you're taking in, what, 18, and you're pumping out 9? So you only need like half as much fluoroketone as you're actually ever making. Like even this thing, we're not fully even filling up this vat of fluoroketone. We only need to like top it off every so often, because it can just recycle itself back in. Which again is because everything needs to be warmed up. You have all these pipes with this heating pipe between them just to make sure that everything's warmed up. Everything's just taking up so much space. Everything's so spaghettified. It's so good. But of course, these can make you some of the best things in the game. This is how you make the captive biter spawners that I placed down. This gets you quantum processors. This gets you foundation. This can make rocket part productivity, which is really good. It can also make railguns, like the one I currently have in my hand, which I don't have any ammo for at the moment. Or like the ones on the Stargazer up here. And it can also do fusion. So this is where like the main part of Aquillo ends. But lithium can keep going up here. It can be used in foundation, which we also just make on site here. Just a little bit at a time, we're just drip feeding it in. We need to get rocks and tungsten plates from off-site. That's why this is such a fun planet, I think, is because a lot of it requires logistics, space logistics. So if you ever look at my OPVs, my IPVs just go Vulcanus to home, Gelba to home, Fulgora to home. The outer planetary vessels, they go from Aquillo, where they drop off, where they pick up cryo packs and foundation, and they typically drop off these rocket supplies, as well as holmium plates, concrete, heating pipe, superconductors, refined concrete, tungsten carbide, carbon fiber, stone, and tungsten plates, which they pick up from Gelba for the carbon fiber, and I think that's it, actually. From Novice, they pick up a lot of the tungsten stuff, because I'll just have them... I'll have the Defiant drop tungsten off at Novice, and then Novice will ship the tungsten to the OPVs. And then they'll stop at Fulgora to pick up, like, the holmium plates, the superconductors. I think that's it from there as well. I think it could probably pick up the concrete from Fulgora as well, honestly. But, like, these things, because Aquillo needs so many off-site products that you can't make on Aquillo, we have to make sure the outer planetary vessels can hit and pick up all the things they might need, which is what makes it a really interesting design. But outside of this, it comes up here. We then make quantum processors, which are used in some of the last things in the game. Fusion, like fusion power, the final science pack, which I have still not made yet, the railguns themselves, and fusion reactors. And then over here, this can make more cryogenic plants. This can also make railguns. But this bad boy over here, this is a fusion reactor. It's similar to a fission reactor, a nuclear reactor, like you see up on these bad boys, in that it uses fuel packs to generate heat. But it's not heat. So you make fusion power cells with holmium plates off-planet, lithium plates on-planet, and ammonia. Easy enough. And you use them to generate, not heat, but plasma, which then has to be filtered directly into, like, it has to be direct inserted. They cannot go through, like, pipes. They cannot go through, like, wires. They need to be direct inserted from here directly into here. And then you can, like, daisy chain them together through these, like, inputs. And these will just straight up generate power. And they will spit out hot fluoroketone, which you can then cool down and then pump back into here. And the cool part is, this is actually self-sustaining as far as the fluoroketone goes. This will take, like, what is it? This will take 4 fluoroketone per second. It will result in plasma, which will output 2 fluoroketone per second when it's consuming 2. So, the way this works, though, is, you're generating 4 per second here. You're using 2 per second here, so over 2 seconds you're using 4, and in that case you're getting 4 hot fluoroketone, which you can then cool down, and then get turned back into here. So it's very self-sufficient if you get enough to kickstart it. You don't need to keep pumping in fluoroketone. All you need is the fusion cells themselves. And it is super fit. This small little thing is making, 2.2 megawatts, but we can, like, make up to 181 megawatts. For instance, Novice over here is making 707 megawatts, 5 times as much, but it's doing it off the backs of 5 fission reactors, a bunch of solar panels. I guess a better example is this, which has 2 fission reactors and a few solar panels, is generating us, up to 35 megawatts. The Stargazer, which only has 2 fission ones with no solar panels whatsoever, is generating us 400 megawatts. Easily, what, 6 times this? Even more. Over 10 times as much power. Like, it is insanely efficient. And we don't need to, like, pump in more fluoroketone. I had to kickstart this with some barrels of fluoroketone. But once it got up and running, yeah, this is just fully self-sustaining outside of, like, getting fission cells from Aquillo. It is a super duper cool thing. Just, I can't stress enough how satisfying this is. That it's all about building heat pipes to connect to your bits to keep it from freezing. Because if you don't have it, then it just, like, everything will start freezing up, right? It's such an interesting design, like, philosophy, a spaghettification philosophy to get everything working here. And once you get everything working here, you can finally make your final goal, which is... oh, over here. There we go. You can finally get to deep space, which is what the DSV is. Deep Space Vessel Stargazer. Because to get to deep space, you've gone through medium asteroids, which can use yellow ammo or red ammo. You've gone through big asteroids, which need missiles. But the last but not least is huge asteroids, which need railguns to deal with. So, last little bit on our stop here. Dun, dun, dun. Look at all this storage space, by the way. Look at all this storage space. Oh, ho, ho, ho. These are Promethium asteroid chunks. These are one of the ingredients of the last science pack. The only thing I really need to do now is just find a way to make the last science pack, which you need to make on a cryogenic plant on a ship. So I need to I need to either edit this ship or make a new ship to make it. But this is the big boy. We have a size of 861 tons, which is almost double. Not necessarily, it's a little bit under. But it's dang near double the size of our outer planetary vessels because... A, fission. I think these are heavier. But B, more importantly, just the size of it is huge. We had 1.9k in these, 2.2k in these. This has 4.1 thousand bits of space station foundation. And its entire goal is to make it to the end of the game. You have these railguns, which these can actually be put in 8 different directions, as opposed to 4 for a lot of other things in the game. It's pulling, just like before, it's pulling in asteroid bits. It's putting them on a central belt. But this time there are 2 belts. I have an outer belt, which has just asteroids and ammo. And then I have an inner belt that has all the products. So asteroid bits get put here, they get refined over here, and then the refined products, the sulfur and the carbon, get put on the inner side of the inner belt. Same thing with the ice, the calcite, the iron and the copper. Everything gets put on the outside. You know, we have to throw away excess if we need to. Goes around, gets turned into water, gets turned into fuel, gets turned into explosives. Explosives get put on the inside belt, because now the finished products are in the inside belt here. Or the advanced products are. We go up here, and then we get to rockets, red ammo, and railgun ammo. There we go. And then it keeps going around, and then finally here. Here's where we get iron and copper, which then get put into the foundries, again, from Vulcanus. Foundries can, take up a lot less space and can generate a lot more product for us. So instead of, having to turn, iron ore into iron plates and then finally into something else, we can turn it into molten copper or molten iron. Then we can cast plates, or cast copper cable, or cast steel, which that's the big one. Is steel is normally you take iron ore, turn it into iron plates, and then you take iron plates and turn them into steel plates. Very time consuming. Also really expensive. This, you just take iron ore, melt it, and then just immediately can get steel. Very, very efficient. These are all rate limited. They only put stuff on this belt if there is less than the required amount on the belt in the first place. So you can see these are all just backed up right now, just waiting for more space to be on the belt. Which there won't be more space on the belt because these aren't making ammo, because this is full up of ammo that it needs. But, this is the end game. Everything on this belt, I wanted to make a stash of ammo. So these will check, is there over 1,000 ammo on the belt and less than 4,000 ammo in storage? If that's true, it will start putting ammo in storage. If it's not true, it won't put ammo in storage. Same thing with rockets. and with railgun ammo. So we have a nice backup in case like we start going hard and we start using a lot of ammo. Instead of waiting to make ammo, we can have like a storage set here that can like put it out for us. Oh, but this thing is a beaut. And its goal was to get me from Aquillo to the solar system edge, which will take, like, this takes like 20 minutes, I think. So we're not going to do this today. But like, we can start going a little bit that way just to show you how the railguns work. And the goal here was to get to the solar system edge. Once you get there, the game says congratulations. It says the end. Thank you for playing. But from there, you can then go to the Shattered Planet, or start going to the Shattered Planet, because there is no end goal here. But the reason you do that is then along this route, you can see huge Promethean asteroids, which you can destroy to get big ones, into medium, into small, into the chunks, which are currently stored in here, which again is the last science pack need. So your entire goal at this point in the game is to get a ship that can continuously go out here, come back, and process asteroid chunks into science. It's all about taking resources and turning into new resources, and it's super cool. Let's go out a little bit, see what it looks like out here. So these are big asteroids. These aren't huge yet, but pretty soon, very soon. Yeah, you can see again, it's a lot of oxide stuff. But as we start going along, it's going to get back to more of a mixed configuration of what we're seeing. Yeah, there's just a big metallic asteroid. Again, we're just only using rockets, only using red ammo to deal with it. Completely fine. There it is. These are the big boys. And that's what happens to the big boys. These things will just lock on, and with one shot, blast it apart into big chunks, which then need to get blasted by the rockets, etc., right? It is supremely satisfying to watch. Which, by the way, actually, thinking about this, turn these on real quick. Something I added on a little bit later on was I made a some limiters here to slow down the speed of the ship. When I originally made my run, I did not have these on. I was going at max speed, which is 250. But I realized if you go slower, you can take it a little bit easier along the way. So by putting these pumps here, they will only like supply fuel if our speed drips below 150. So we're gonna kind of like fluctuate our speed. It's gonna be a little like zigzaggy, but it's preferable because then the asteroids aren't coming at us that fast, and we have a lot more reaction time to deal with them. Yeah, this is the final stretch of the game. It's super cool. Alright, but let's go back to Aquillo real quick. Yeah, it's just nothing but giant asteroids just flying at you the entire time. You have to take care of them, blast them apart. Hopefully you don't run out of ammo. That's the biggest scare. Is that you don't run out of ammo, or that nothing slips under your radar, right? Because the way I have this set up is like, these rocket turrets have a dead zone. If a big asteroid gets in this spot right here, you have to rely on one of these ones to like deal with it. Like, make sure you have things that cover your rockets. Because like if something slips into this dead zone, and the meteor just starts hitting your stuff, you might be just dead. It definitely took me like 2 or 3 tries to actually make the journey with like a few modifications the entire time. Like, I didn't have these rockets here originally, these 4. I added them in because I realized like, oh, things are slipping under the radar and killing me. And also like I extended this out. Like, I didn't have these like bits here before. This was just flat. But then I realized like I need to have more things to do with medium asteroids, because you're just generating like so many medium asteroids. So I added a 3rd rung of these. I added a 2nd rung of these, and I had to just shift these up because like these are fine. They're killing everything in one hit. but like we just needed more medium and big asteroid destroyers. Oh, look at it. Just so immensely satisfying. Once we get to Aquillo, we'll drop to it. It's so good. Look at all these though. Promethium asteroid chunks, just like artillery ammo, only have a chunk size of 1. Actually, it's best to store it just on a belt, because belts can store 8 things at one time. It's insanely efficient to store it on a belt. But again, like I just wanted to like get a few of them, store them up. I'll have to deal with like making Promethium science packs at a slightly later date when I want to. Oh goodness though. Look at it. It's so sick. Alright, we're almost back at Aquillo. Oh man. These two are off they're synced up in the wrong way again. Or here, just go straight to Aquillo. Don't go to Fulgora or Gelba. Just go straight to Aquillo. Let's see if we can get all the way back to Novice. Because I think I've shown you guys everything now. I think that's effectively everything we have, but let's go back to Novice real quick and just touch base back home. Just look how nice it is out here. Like, this is... Like, you can see the little, like, snow particles in the air and everything. Just imagine just sitting out on the ice planet. Vast, vast ammonia ocean, as far as the eye can see. You're safe and snug in your mech suit, though. Also, the music. When the music swells, it hits really hard. I wish Project Zomboid would take some notes from Factorio a little bit sometimes. Because Zomboid music feels like it only hits when you're in combat or like driving. And I wish it would like swell just randomly every so often, or at least like have different background tracks that can just hit every so often. Because like there are times where I was like just like building and like, dude, this is a good track, but Fulgora, if I stay here long enough, I wonder if we'll kick in. Fulgora's track, when I was building all this and Fulgora's soundtrack just starts kicking in, ooh, it's a good one. It is a good one. Oh wait, I don't know if that's Fulgora's track that's kicking in right now. I think that still might just be Aquillo's. Feels so like the fact that you have a mech suit that can just like go anywhere, and you can just like fly out to like here. You can just feel so insignificant in the vast void. Such a beautiful planet. You can see all the inputs we need here. Everything that gets imported from the space stations up above. And all the sciences, right, they get put into these things. And whenever a ship comes by that needs it, it will send the request, but obviously we've been backed up on this for a bit because nothing we're making needs, nothing needs cryogenic science packs, we're just, like, stockpiling at the moment. One last trip up. We'll send him back on his way. And we'll also send the Europa back out. Also, in case anyone didn't notice, or was interested in why the names are the way they are outside of the IPV, DSV, OPV, and NSS stands for Novice Space Station. These are all, except for the Europa, I believe, are all Star Trek ships' names. Enterprise, of course, from TNG and TOS. Voyager from Voyager. Defiant from Deep Space Nine. In my opinion, like, Defiant felt very rough and rugged, so it's for the rough and rugged Vulcanists. Enterprise was to seek out new life and new civilizations, so Gelba. Voyager was very, like, futuristic. It was, like, the most, like, advanced science ship of the time when Voyager was happening, so Fulgora. Deep Space Nine, it was a space station, so that gets the Novice Space Station. Then the Titan was the next ship I made, because I was like, what other Star Trek ships are there? And I was like, it needs to be a big one because it has to go to Aquillo, which is a far way away. And so I looked up and I was like, oh, Titan. Because that's the ship that Riker gets command of, or is offered command of a lot in TNG, and I think eventually gets command of in the newer stuff. Actually, I think he gets it even in the older stuff. I think he gets it, like, in Star Trek, the one with Shenzan. I think he's already in command of the Titan, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. Like, I made Titan then. And then Europa, I was like, I needed to get another ship name. And I think Europa is in there, but also Europa and Titan are both moons. I believe they're both Galilean moons, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. One of these might be from Saturn. But I was like, okay, that kind of fits too. Because they basically are the same ship. They're doing the exact same runs. So I want them to have sister ship-esque names. And then Stargazer is... This is also a Star Trek name. I had to look this one up because I was like, what is a good ship name for, you know, going out here? And potentially going out here. Well, to see the stars. Like, it's a really good name. And the Stargazer is, if I remember correctly, the Stargazer was Captain Picard's first ship. Or alternatively, it was the ship that he was on before he got command of the Enterprise. That's where Stargazer comes from in Star Trek terms. But of course, the entire goal of it was just to, you know, see the stars. Let's drop the Novice when we get there. Which, by the way, speaking of things... Oh, I don't think I technically have this achievement because, again, it's a transferred save file. But, another thing that really fits with it, too, is the beating the game achievement is... these are time ones that I can't get anymore. Wait, where is it? Eh? Wait, do I already have it? And if so, how? Hmm? I don't know where it is. The achievement for beating the game is, the famous line from the end of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Which is... Global achievements, scroll the way down, scroll up a little bit. Second star to the right. And straight on till morning. The famous line uttered by Captain Kirk at the end of Star Trek VI, The Voyage. The Undiscovered Country. The order he gives to the helmsman, because at the end of the movie, they're done. That's the final Star Trek, the original series movie. And it's like, well, once this night is up, we're done, right? We're done. So until then, straight on till morning. They take one last joyride in the Enterprise, effectively. Very, very cute. It ended up being a very fitting title for my ships. But that's Factorio. Going from a small little meek engineer to seeing the edge of the solar system and a little bit further beyond. I got, like, I think this far. I got the first achievement, which is travel 10,000 kilometers to the Shattered Planet. So I think I probably got, like, this far-ish. Because it's 4 million, so this is 2 million, this is 1 million, and, like, a tenth of that. So, yeah, maybe, like, about here. Oh, boy. What? What a game. So you guys ready for another 170-hour series on this? Alright. What? So true. I think that's all I got. I'm an old man. I've been here for many days, many eons. I've made many a copper wire in my 170-ish hours of playtime. Making even more than I thought now. Gosh dang. Because it is used for, like, everything. Look at all of this. Look upon my works, ye mighty. My fluids. My buildings. It's mostly trees at this point. What is this? Hold on. Oh, this is the pollution destroyed by trees. Yeah, you can see. It's insane how strong the tree factories go. Tree farming is really, really good for reducing pollution. But again, like, we're kind of offsetting it right now because we are still making a lot of pollution, but, like, the fact that these have turned back to, like, a nice blue, super cool. But look at my sushi and enjoy. With that, Source Crew, go ahead and save. And with that, let's wrap. Source Crew, thank you for joining me on this little journey recap adventure today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And if you're interested in this game yourself, I cannot stress enough, it's a very fun game. It can be very addictive in a way, but, like, the good fun addictive way. And if you don't know if you'll like it, but your interest was piqued, there is a demo on Steam. And the demo will go through, effectively, like, there are 5 tutorial missions in this game, which do a really good job of setting you up, and I believe it goes through all 5 of those. Or at least it goes through, like, the first 4 or something. Something along those lines. So it's a really good way to, like, get your bearings and see, like, maybe this game might be for me, or maybe I don't know if this game is for me, but, you know, it lets you try before you buy. Yeah, that's all I got. With that, we're going to be back on Thursday for some, Avatar Legends, the fighting game. The new Avatar fighting game is coming out on Thursday. We're gonna we're gonna dip our toesies in. We're gonna try it out. Again, I've not, like, touched it myself at all. I'm seeing a lot of new stuff for it because, you know, it's the lead up to it. Looks exciting. I can't wait to, like, try out. Personally, I'm gonna be messing with Korra, Toph, and probably Sokka and Zuko the most at first, but we'll see. I saw there's a really cool, which we'll get to see it on Thursday, obviously, but the coolest thing, I think, that I've seen in, like, the pre-release stuff that they're showing right now, since it's the final days, is there's a training mode in there, which every fighting game has a training mode, but specifically there's, like, a, their mission mode, I guess is what you would call it, seems like a rhythm game, which is super cool. Like, I'm a fighting game veteran. I think I can say that safely at this point. But, like, learning combos can be hard if you've not, like, messed with it that much before. And so stylizing a combo in the form of a rhythm game is super neat to me. And I want to see, like, how that feels. Like, I'm going to be coming at it from a veteran's perspective, but I'd be really interested in, like, seeing, like, in, like, a month's time being like, yeah, I really like the Avatar combo system. I got to learn it through the rhythm game thing. I cannot wait to see that from someone at some point in time in the future. That'd be really sick. They're doing a lot of really interesting things with the game, so I'm really excited to like mess with it. Making the other hanger cats and some old cat dress-up games I found. Nice! Very adorable, Dolly. Very adorable. Thank you for that in advance. But yeah, outside of that, the only other thing we have is Ace Attorney on Sunday. Schedule will be out on Saturday before that, so the rest of the next week will be in that, if you're interested in checking that out. But yeah, that's all I got. So we're going to send you guys over to someone to round out the night, shall we? Ah! I should be able to do this now. How long have they been going for? They've been going for almost 3, but I'm going to imagine they're going to be going for a little longer, hopefully. So Service Crew to end the night out, I'm going to send you guys over to Canadia. Currently playing some Arknights. He's together with Kin and with Akka. Go check them out. I believe they are reading through the story. I don't know if they're still doing it or if they're wrapping up. But if they are wrapping up, then haha, it's my turn to get it back. Haha. So let's see. Hit it up. Start that raid. Dolly, maybe you can do it, save the, because I assume you're using a, pick crew or something similar, right? Or like you said, a Flash game. You might be able to take the product and then, like, do a little bit of, like, basic photoshopping, potentially, right? Good luck with it, either way. And Service Crew overall. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you catch you next time. Peace out, everyone. And see you there in 3, 2, 1. Go say hi.